yes, legends, how's everybody doing? Hope you're doing fantastic. Let's analyze the situation. Bitcoin is coming into some interesting resistance at the moment, and we are going to be analyzing the situation here all together, guys. Okay, smash up the like button if you do enjoy the content, and we'll dive in right away through a few scenarios, of course. Okay, let's go. How's everybody doing, guys? Hope you're doing fantastic. It is Monday today. Let's go. Do we see some awesome opportunities on the chart? We are at resistance, right? We are at resistance. Is it time for the short? I'm going to say it's obviously a starting to be acceptable zone to consider short positions. Okay, so we are going to be analyzing the situation, of course. But before, I need to let you know that the content is only for educational purposes, guys. Only. It is not financial advice, okay? Super important to understand. Now, said that, we can dive in right away through the comment section and we will go through some scenarios, guys. It's good. The probabilities were higher, as explained yesterday, to hit those highs. Didn't get the video ready, but anyway, anybody that watched yesterday's video live stream, okay, we were talking about the probabilities to hit the highs of Friday. Very, very high probability. Ended up continuing the range, a bit of flop here, a bit of a running flat, you would arguably discuss. Probabilities were high to come up here to this range, okay? So it's all about how to enter, manage your trade. You can enter with 0.5%. If we do get a dip down, sweep the lows, sweep these lows, another 0.5%. It's all about handling the trade, of course. But the target zone was to hit these highs, right? It's only a little bit of a day trade situation. We might get a swing short position throughout the next coming days. So we're going to study the zones, the levels. We've hit a major level at the moment, which is a weekly level that was not tapped on that pump that we had on last Wednesday. We got a little SFP from those highs of Wednesday, tapping the weekly level. It's a valid short entry, eh? On the rejection, I have to say. It's a valid entry point. Manage risk very, very well. Stop loss at the high. Nice little scalp. Is this the one that actually is going to move down to lower prices, right, in the next couple of days? Or will we continue the momentum to the upside? Because there is stronger resistance. And what we need to understand is this momentum, right? We like to take a look at this momentum. This momentum yesterday, probabilities were higher to take out the highs. With today's information, what do we have? I got it ready for you guys, okay? So we're going to be going through that, of course, in today's live stream. Let's say hello, first of all, to the beautiful community, okay? First of all, show some respect. Short now or wait? It all depends, right? It all depends. It all depends on, your risk management. You could always start off with a short. We're already hitting major resistance zones. I would like to see the price hit higher levels of resistance. I do think that there is a chance of a corrective move and then one more leg to the upside and then move down. I think it's very, very possible. We'll break down here the lower time frames, but resistance is resistance, right? Weekly level, almost sweeping up those highs. We've swept some liquidity. It doesn't mean that we need to sweep all of the liquidity, right? When we came down here last week at $85,000, right? Below 85K. There was still lots of liquidity here to be fetched, right? So it's interesting, though, that we do see still a few hundred million in short liquidations, legends, okay? Let me know if the music is too loud, if it's too low. Yeah, 92 short or 86 long. Yeah, the thing is, when we do have higher targets to enter the short, sometimes we don't get them, right? Resistance starts here, as explained, from 90K to 92K. We got some levels. You want to treat those levels as guidance, just for solid entries. Okay, we had a weekly. We got a naked point of control. Range point of control. We got the golden pocket from the high to the low. You got several levels of guidance here for tap and execute a trade. First one, weekly level, sitting at $90,400. Golden pocket starts at $90,700 to $91,000. And then the range point of control at 91.5. This is the area which is interesting. Each levels to check. Of course, golden pocket is the sweet spot, just because you have those major lower highs in that fair value gap. So this is like the sweet spot level. This is the ideal level, really, right? Which is these lower highs right there with that fair value gap. You want to see, you know, I would prefer to see that movement up. Okay, fair value gap. Maybe hit the point of control. It's either SFP from this zone or touch the range point of control at 91.5 and then look for that movement down eventually. Okay, so it's all about handling the trade. You can enter a small position. I'm happy to enter a small position at this zone as a short. Give a bit of room for stop loss. Add to the position, okay, as long as it's in your risk tolerance, right? You cannot enter with a 10%, right, of your capital with a stop loss all the way up here, right? You can enter with 1%, 0.5%, and obviously, you know, scale into that position if it's 2%, max 3% as stop loss, right? And treat it as a swing move down. So the question is, this was already a valid entry. It's a classic SFP from the highs of Wednesday and the weekly level that was not tapped last Wednesday. You know, it's a valid confluence zone for an entry trigger, and stop loss is like really minor, right? You can treat it as a scalp. You can treat it as, you know, take most of the profits, understand that we could go to higher levels. It really depends on your style of trading, of course. So it is the zone of rejection. I do not expect a solid breakout from this area, especially considering how we moved up into this region and what do we have in this zone also. It just doesn't feel like a start of a major bullish trend. People are very speculative right now with the $7 billion being, you know, possibly printed and all of that. Money printer goes on now and you know, everything's going to fly. Well, think twice. Think twice. We'll go through a few scenarios here. Don't worry about that. We are here. We are ready. Let me know anybody that managed to get into any local long positions. It is a move of $1,500, $2,000. Okay. But the probabilities, okay, shorters, be aware the probabilities were to take out the highs of Friday and, you know, come into this $90K to $92,000 range. Okay. Shorters, bears needed to be aware about this situation yesterday, which we thoroughly explained about the probabilities of getting that movement up after getting this momentum, right? Probabilities were higher to get that move up here. So, sorry guys, I'm actually wanting to go through the comment section, but there's just so much that we want to talk about that I get distracted with the charts instantly. Whoop whoop, let's go. Here for it. Hello Andy, hi everyone. Suzanne, much love. Paz Maria Vallejos, ¿cómo estás? Hola Andy, much love. Much love to you. Yes, Labon. Talk Edu, much love to you. Morning Alex, how are you doing? Hammer the like, guys. So much love. Let's go. Labon. Everybody, good morning. La Sefi. Hello, legend. Looks bearish. Incoming. Let's see. Somebody here was, I'm shorting. Yeah, short responsibly, legends. Okay. I'm also in that short. Okay. I have to say I entered with a small position. You know, stop loss is very, very far away. This is a very, very small short position. I realized that we could go to higher levels depending on the movement up, if it's powerful or not. You know, I'm considering rejections to add to this position. It's in very much my risk tolerance, okay? Eventually, I want to lower the stop loss as soon as I get confirmation, rejections, exhaustion. I will explain that throughout the next coming minutes, guys. You know, I do expect the price to potentially go to higher levels. All right, I'm not saying that this is the SFP we absolutely nuke from here. I do believe that we can, you know, range and, you know, move to slightly higher levels into the 91, 92. But I just don't want to miss this trade. If it were to roll over from here, it's not going to be max profits, but I'm positioned already. Okay, I am positioned. We already came to the weekly. We already got above 90K, which is what I'm looking for. We got a little reaction, but it is true that I do see the price, you know, tackling this resistance just purely based on what we got with this move. Okay, purely based on what we got with this move. There is the potential of this being the high, but there's also the potential of one more high here. Okay, bit of a range correction, get that pop, looks bullish, claim all of that liquidity and hit those levels of resistance, and then we'll have to check the reaction. If we do break above 91,500 literally, and we do sustain it, and I'm happy to cut losses on that short. Okay, momentum is bullish, right? Momentum is bullish on the lower time frame. Okay, people get stuck with the downtrend movement here. This was not a zone to look for shorts, that is for sure. As explained yesterday, probabilities were higher to get that move up and come into the levels of resistance. So I am happy to see 91, 92K even, like max. And then obviously, you know, monitor here the rejections at the certain levels of Confluence. We've got a beautiful SFP with a golden pocket. That's a very, very valid zone. Fair value gap. If we break above the fair value gap, the main level here that I do have is 91.5K. You got that pivot low here also with the range point of control, which, you know, I think it's a very, very solid level, without a doubt. Very, very solid level that we do have here, which is that point of control right from the range of the last few weeks, right from mid-November. We're already hitting the first one, which is this high volume node. Then the second one comes at 91.5. I am aware of, you know, getting a bit of that movement to the upside. Hit golden pocket, hit range point of control. I'm happy to, you know, hold on the local volatility to the upside. Any longs, I think, should be closed. Most of them should be closed. You know, I reckon if you did take a long from this low over here, which was very, very achievable long position. You know, it was very, very achievable, understanding the you know, the 5-wave move to the downside, right? Where we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, sweeping up the lows. 5th wave, that's when you start to get a stop on the lower time frame here at the 84.7 or 84.8. You know, consider a long, and your target zone here most commonly is hitting that lower high of a wave 4. We explained this on the live streams many times. Try and detect that 5th wave. If you are sweeping some levels and you are getting a bit of a range, it is an acceptable long position, okay, all the way to the 4th wave, right? This is like simple, you know, Elliot wave theory, right? We do explain this. We try and detect the 5-wave move, entering into the 5th wave as a long position to at least sweep up the 4th wave, which is the most common target when we are looking for a corrective move. When we are discussing, of course, you know, just a regular impulse, right? This one would be to the upside, right? It's very, very common to come down at least to the 4th wave on the correction, right? Or an impulse, right? It could be an impulse down, because this could be a C wave, 5-wave move in a C wave, right? In an ABC zigzag or a flat, right? Which is kind of the case down here. So anyway, yeah, that's the major target zone, as you can see from that. Let's go through, most importantly, you know, this momentum to the upside, right? Because it is pumping. It does look like it wants to continue pumping. We are hitting some resistance, but there's no major signs of, you know, weakness eventually. You know, the momentum is clearly to the upside. We all want to speculate that it's going to reverse soon. So you just need to understand how to handle the situation, right? Quick go through the comment section with the rest of the people coming in. Devil, enjoy the stream, legends, much love. I saw Devil was streaming just before me. Okay, I tried to keep it, at least an hour after Devil if he is going to stream. Much love, Devil. Go and check his channel out, guys. He just did a live stream not long ago here, and he's an absolute legend. Okay, very good education, technical analysis. Is today New York open or holiday? New York will open 22nd of December. I think it's not a holiday. I know 25th is a holiday, but I don't think 22nd is. Andy, there is a fair value gap at 96.97 on the BTC daily chart. Did you open an entry already, Andy? Yes, I did. It's a very small position. I am aware of a bit more volatility to the upside. I just want to be positioned. I want to be positioned at least small percentage, of course, of capital. And I'm treating this more as a little swing. Once this movement gets exhausted, which I do expect it to get exhausted here in between this $90,000 to $92,000 zone, the correction, I'm going to really aim for the golden pocket. I think that's the main target for me. Golden pocket from the pivot low to the pivot high. You might ask, why are you targeting the golden pocket? Right? Why would the golden pocket be your target here? From this pivot low to the pivot high, regardless if it's 91 or if it's 90.4, which we just hit that weekly level, or it's going to be 91.5, right? I am aware of that choppiness and attempt of moving higher. I am aware of that scenario, but I'm also aware that there is very high probability in actually rejecting in this zone, right? There is a very, very good chance. And that all has to do with the probabilities of starting a major bullish trend from here. Okay, starting a major bullish trend. Obviously from here, it's out of the cards. Double 1 2 here doesn't work. The contracting diagonal, I don't like it. I don't like it just because there's a 5-wave move up here and there's a 3-wave move up here. That is not possible. As explained yesterday, we need either a 5 5 5 in the waves 1 3 and 5, or all of them develop with 3-wave structures. So I'm not giving this. If you have something else, which we do, we have many scenarios, that do cover higher probability, because a leading contracting diagonal just on its own does not have the highest probability. If there is something else very much countable on this to be a, more sideways corrective structure. And one of them that I do like, and I am giving a little bit of more love, is the triangle. Okay, the higher time frame triangle here, which is this one right over here. This is the one that I would give a little bit of more love at the moment. I just think it's quite nice. It is true that your wave X is coming in twice, even a bit more than twice the length than your wave W, but I like it. I like it. Or even the flat, which is very, very nice. Eventually this flat is purely based on a double zigzag WXY to form a 3-wave structure. This is very, very countable, very nice. You got a zigzag up, the correction, zigzag up. Very, very nice. Much better than a contracting leading diagonal that has less probability. And with that scenario, eventually, if you have a 3-wave move up in a wave A, it needs to be part of a flat structure. Okay. If it is counted as a wave A, right? An A wave and a zigzag needs to be a 5-wave move, then 3-wave structure in B, and then 5-wave in wave C. But if it is an A wave and a 3-wave structure, you eventually want to see a 3-wave move to the downside, coming to take out this low, or very close to taking it out. 90% Fibonacci from the low to the high is your minimum target for the B wave. But both of these scenarios, do point out for a rejection eventually, because in this area, they do point out for a rejection in this area, either the triangle, right, or either the flat. Eventually this flat, the B wave, we want to consider an A, B, C, or a WXY, right? So, you know, you got the movement down, very choppy, rangy scenario. This movement to the upside, I have to say, it does not look extremely bullish. Okay, you know, the fact that all of this, if I am going to believe that this is a wave 1, wave 2, and then a wave 3, you know, first of all, your wave 2s, you know, it is hard to finish a movement down here as well with this from this pivot. Very, very hard to count a end of a move down here with this pivot. You can with this one, which would be that contracting diagonal, but with this one, it would be more like a double zigzag situation, which is still very much, it is valid eventually for this C wave. But you know, when you have a lot of confusion about what's happened in the previous waves, which, you know, it happens to me, it happens to everybody, no matter how much experience you have, right? The easiest thing when you're looking at Elliott wave theory to look at the probabilities of the next move is analyzing the latest move from the last pivot. That is what's going to give you that edge to be confident on you know, analyzing the structure from, you know, what you have in this zone to give the different scenarios. And obviously, when we go with the most bullish case scenario, if you want to believe that this is the low right over here, I believe that this is extremely bullish. We're going to get 7 billion printed, and I'm reading all of this throughout X. You know, the bullish scenario would be a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. We need to start moving up very aggressively in the next coming hours, right? Or create another 1 and 2 where you have that 1, 2 right over here, and then you have another 1 and 2. You do get a larger correction, but you still form a higher low, and then you obviously look for the breakout. You know, this does have low probability as it stands for the moment, and lower probability, of course, it can happen eventually, right? You just want to be aware of it. But I like to look at the probability side, right? Would it be common to see this as a wave 1 and this a wave 2? The problem is wave 2s, you know, usually come down at least to the 50% Fibonacci. And in this case, this wick did hit 50%, but I would argue discuss that this range, right, this finished in this region over here, and this is where we started the new momentum. So, you know, not even hitting the 382 Fibonacci. Part of the wave 2 did hit the 50%, but I'm not giving it the highest probability at the moment, understanding as well all of the levels of resistance that we have here. So we just want to be aware as well about taking shorts in this region where we have a weekly level, you have guidance, weekly level, lower high SFP, golden pocket, which is coming in at $90,700 to $91,000, right? You can see it right over here. We just want to be aware eventually of, you know, as the price tackles this zone, the movement down is very important. The movement down needs to be relatively aggressive, okay? So, yeah, 91, you know, maybe 91.5. Maybe we do hit actually those zones, that zone here where we have that range point of control. Very, very possible. The movement down is going to be important to really understand if you need to take profit aggressively, because you know, you can move down eventually in a 3-wave move up and then get this epic bounce. If that is the case, then I would be maybe flipping a little bit more bullish, at least to take out the local highs. Just like yesterday, where the probabilities were higher to take out the highs of Friday, right, at 89.3K. you know, and get that pop up above this zone. Not in liking this SFP. We did create a little SFP for a little scalp, but I didn't like this for an SFP. As explained, I would rather see the price getting above $90,000 first. And as you know, depends on the movement down, right? Because I would be expecting a rejection from this area. But if you do reject, boom, bang, boom, right? And then you get a major rally, and we can detect this as a bit of a three-wave structure and a bit of a range, just like this zone over here from yesterday, well, throughout the weekend. You know, I will understand, guys, the probabilities are higher to take out the highs again, even though this has been an awesome level. We got a great level of resistance. We got the rejection of, you know, give or take $1,000 to $2,000, you know, depending on how the price moves here. We're going to have to either take profit soon or, you know, protect position, basically, right? That's the main idea here, protect position and take most of the profits as we do get this rangy structure. However, if the price does get a solid rejection here, boom, 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 right? You know, claims even these lows, that's a very, very good sign that we are likely, you know, going to maybe bounce in a corrective structure and then take out the lows again. So yeah, it all depends on the power of the rejection. Preferably we do claim the higher lows of the weekend, and that's the moment of, okay, this is looking pretty good. I would be expecting another three-wave move down, you know, possibly coming to the 86.5 86k zone, and then obviously we'll monitor the situation once that happens, right? Kind of speculating on the future waves, you know, is a bit random here. Of course, we need that information. We need that information. Of course, that would be with the idea that we're looking for the triangle, right? You're looking for your wave E, or with the idea that we could form that flat structure, and this movement to the downside actually, you know, gets a little bit more aggressive. The third wave move down, right? And then, you know, obviously we'll look for, you know, either sweeping up this low or hitting the 0.9 Fibonacci. We're going to have to see how price develops later, you know, as we do get this movement. So yeah, for the moment, that's what we got here, coming into levels of resistance, a little bit of the situation. I am happy to add to the position aggressively if we come up. I want to scale it eventually to a 2-3%, you know, position. Right now it's about a 0.5 risk with stop loss very, very far away. Just don't want to miss this this zone. Obviously, I could have entered more aggressively. It all depends, guys. You could have entered aggressively on the SFP of the weekly level and the SFP of the highs of Wednesday, right? All depending on how aggressive you're feeling. If you're taking it as a little day trade, or if you're really looking for that, you know, a bigger swing down in the next coming days, but being aware that you could take out the highs still here, okay, a little bit more, right? It all depends on how you're managing the situation. So yeah, that's a little bit it here. Coming into levels of resistance, we're going to do the lower time frame, guys, where we do have the meat and potatoes. That's where we like the 15-minute, right? It's even coming down to the 5-minute time frame to really discuss the different possibilities from this, right? What possibilities do we have with this wave getting developed? Also combining it with this movement here in this zone, right? What combination do we have? Okay, not only from this low, but understanding as well this low over here. Could we see a flat structure in this zone? Your wave X here, and now we form a zigzag up, and it becomes a complex WXY. This is why I do think that the price could reject here in this area. However, it could be another 3-wave down, very corrective structure, and then pops out to 91 to 92k, right? And then the price decides to move down aggressively. So you need to be prepared with the different situations here eventually. Let's go through the comment section. Maybe some people entered some long positions as we were discussing on yesterday's stream. that there was a possibility of, you know, coming up, sorry, to claim those highs. Let me go right away through the scenarios that was explained yesterday, literally. Okay, yesterday we were talking about that possibility and the high probability that we were likely going to sweep up those highs, right? The box here from Friday highs were highly likely to be claimed as explained yesterday. Okay, we had a few scenarios. Trying to look here for the video, but it doesn't matter. Anyway, let's go right away. We're gonna dive in through the 50-minute. We can take a look at some altcoins if you wish. Do we take a look at altcoins, guys, or do we focus on 15-minute, 5-minute scalping scenarios? Okay, on Bitcoin mainly. We should be getting some volatility, a little volatility on the New York Open, hopefully. We still have some liquidity to the upside. Just be aware, of course, there's no need to catch that liquidity now in the next coming minutes. We are getting some short trades on Bybit. Okay, Bybit traders, lots of longs entering as well, which is good. That's what you want to see coming into resistance. Okay, because sometimes what is good about the CVD and the Delta is that we might talk about a resistance level, and it's so obvious that lots of, you know, retail traders are looking at this resistance, regardless if it's the weekly or the point of control. Everybody, let's all short all together, as everybody's talking about this resistance and it's not going to break. And then obviously what you see in the Delta or the CVD is a huge amount of shorters entering the market. And that's literally what you do not want to see. However, you know, throughout the last few hours, there's actually been, you know, 15 million long positions entering here at $90,200 on Bybit only. You know, that's good. You want to see people long into resistance to get that movement down. So that's a good sign, first of all, coming into resistance, where you actually seen, you know, millions of dollars of long positions entering into resistance and not making a good effort to break the weekly level. So, you know, with that theory, of course, if there's been 15 million long positions entering here, got the resistance, still struggling a little bit, it's a good sign, right? It's actually a good sign to see some long positions entering in this zone, right? Just so it gives you a little bit of more possibilities of, you know, not breaking out successfully from this zone and getting the rollover, right? You might think, well, if there's long positions entering here, shouldn't that mean that, you know, people are attempting to the breakout? I mean, absolutely yes. But, you know, if you do get millions of dollars of long positions entering in here and not managing to get that push through, well, obviously they are, you know, starting to fail, right? They're starting to fail, and it's obviously creating that liquidity to the downside as, you know, long positions are entering here at resistance, right? Which is not the best thing to do. Of course, you could end up breaking out, but it's much better to enter at ranges, right? When you have clearly an impulsive move up and you have clearly a corrective structure, which was explained yesterday, and the target zone is hitting 89,300 at a bare minimum, right? Well, regardless if you move up to 91K later on, then that's all good. That's just extra profits. But yeah, maybe some people did manage to enter a long position somewhere in this region. We did get an isolated move up of a couple of $1,000. So we're going to break down here a little bit the 5-minute, 15-minute, and understand a little bit of this momentum to the upside. Is it bullish enough? Do we see a start of a major breakout? Or is this actually all part of a corrective complex structure, which is kind of what I am favoring, especially if we do get, you know, millions of long positions entering here at the highs. That's all good. So yeah, we're going to break that down in the next coming minutes, guys. Okay. Will this go up or break down? Yeah, I mean, BTC, Paz Maria Vallejos, much love. Will BTC go up or break down? We need, it's all about level to level, guys. It's all about level to level. I would prefer to see, you know, another push to the upside. I would really prefer to see a corrective structure in this zone and get one more push up and then get the movement down. Okay, I actually would prefer this. Because that's where I want to position heavily on the levels of resistance, you know, getting the reaction, getting the rejection. You know, there's two options. There's one down here, which is at the golden pocket. I'm going to treat the golden pocket as a level of resistance. Okay, just sweeping up those lower highs before the fair value gap. This is a zone that I'm treating this area as an SFP, 90,700. So yeah, get up to 91, 91.2, doesn't matter. And then, you know, look for the rejection and enter the rejection point at the level of Confluence, which is the golden pocket. But, you know, you might think, well, why would you prefer this scenario? Why would you prefer, you know, a consolidation here and then a movement up and then get the movement down? It all has to do a little bit trying to get a combination of what is happening, you know, from this low. For me, it's very hard to believe that, you know, this has been a solid low. I mean, this would have to be some kind of a double zigzag situation, but it is better to see this as the low and then combine this as a flat. Okay, you have that movement down here. You can either combine this low or this low. If I only combine this low, I need to start thinking of just a regular zigzag into this zone, just a regular 3-wave structure. I mean, that's all good. That's fine. I know the probabilities are low to get a wave 3 here, right? We'll have to monitor the situation if we do get the rejection in a correction. And then, you know, we'll see. We'll see. Could this be a 1-2, a 1-2, and we break through? We're just going to have to take it into consideration eventually. But what I prefer from here, I mean, if I treat this the low, then I have to say, you know, a regular zigzag move is possible, and then you get the movement down, or combine it with this low. If I combine, you know, this to figure out if it is a corrective structure, and this is like, you know, it is complex, guys, and it sounds a little bit of rubbish maybe to a lot of people, but this is how the market plays, right? What can I say? You know, we need to figure out a little bit of the structure. The fact that if I wanted to combine this movement to the upside with this pivot low, what the heck do I have here with this, you know, range volatility? One thing I can see clearly is a 3-wave move to the upside and a 3-wave move to the downside. Then this impulsive move up that did not take out this high, but regardless, a running flat is possible. Running flats, you know, are actually kind of common. You know, they are common for me. For some people, they're not that common, but I do see them quite a lot. So with this combination, you got 3-wave up, 3-wave down, and a 5-wave move to the upside. You know, I need to understand that this could be some kind of a flat structure, right? Running flat. If you have formed a running flat, okay, and let's just get that movement here, ABC, right? Possible scenario, running flat. If you have had a movement to the downside, okay, if you've been in a downtrend and then you form this sideways range, very choppy, very complex, you know, very overlappy, and, you know, basically a running flat in this case, which counts very, very nicely, but purely based on what I explained here, 3-wave up, 3-wave down impulse, you know, it's just perfect combination for a flat. and you did not get continuation down, right? Because a running flat could be the end of a correction after coming from a downtrend. Running flat, breakdown. That is possible. But because yesterday, you know, we mentioned this, look, guys, all of this looks so corrective that, you know, whatever happens in this zone, you know, you're likely going to take out those highs from Friday. Understanding that, I can see that, you know, if you have a flat structure here and a flat, if you don't roll down and you move the other side, I mean, look no further. You're looking for a combination of a corrective structure here and a complex WXY. Because inside of a WXY, your first wave, which is W, can be a flat. And then, you know, you just continue the mess. You can have a zigzag in wave X or a, you know, another flat. X can be any kind of corrective structure. And then then wave Y can be a triangle or another flat or something else. And you're like, what the heck is going on? Are we going up or down? Well, yeah, you tell me. I don't know. But what I understand is that this combination, you know, can continue. And, you know, that's where you come up with all the different scenarios here. And so let's break that down, right? This could be a wave W. There's no doubt about it. That could be a wave W, ABC flat. Then you got this rangy structure, and X waivers can be any type of corrections. They could be a WXY, they could be a triangle, they could be a flat, they could be whatever, right? Any corrective three-wave scenarios. And there is a little bit of a complex, you know, range here throughout the weekend. There's no doubt about it, right? It's just a move down, move up, three-wave down, up, down, you know, yeah. It's a little range, right? This is the new fresh move. This movement that we are getting to the upside is the new fresh move. You know, that's it. You know, now the problem is what we're looking at for wave Y can be, you know, a few scenarios. It can be a flat, it can be a triangle, it can be a zigzag to the upside. If your wave W is a flat, wave Y can be a zigzag. So do we have the zigzag here in already? Boom, bang, right? That's been your, you know, kind of your flat structure or your WXY in your wave X. You know, very, very possible. Is this the zigzag already? When you do take a look at the timing from your wave W, right? And you do want a little bit of symmetry here between Y and W. This would be relatively fast, in my opinion, for this to really, you know, move down. Possible it is. It is definitely possible. You're already coming to a block of resistance in this zone. So I don't like the timing. You know, it is a bit shallow. What I would prefer to see is this being your A wave. I mean, for me, I mean, this would be my preferred scenario, where you are looking for this to be an A, B, and a wave C, right? Then you got a three wave, a little bit more symmetrical, right? Throughout the next coming days. Symmetrical, I mean by timing. This is the time of your wave W and the flat. You know, I would prefer to see the timing a little bit similar. In size, your wave X doesn't really matter. It's a very individual wave. It's sometimes short, sometimes long. Doesn't matter. I'm more interested in wave W and Y to have a little bit of symmetry. So, yeah, I mean, preferably we do get some kind of a movement down here. And maybe, you know, maybe it's the highs already. I did explain why this is a zone of resistance. There is a chance for this to be the zigzag up, you know, wave Y. Maybe it is. You know, I would prefer, you know, I say it's possible for this to be the high, but I would actually prefer a little bit of choppiness here, right? Get that movement down, maybe get some late shorters, and then get the, you know, next move up to form that zigzag to come into proper level of resistance, lower highs, fair value gap, weekly naked point, well, the range point of control at 91.4K zone. and then get the movement down. And it would just look better all combined here with a bit of more symmetry in your wave Y. So yeah, obviously that would be a zigzag. A zigzag here. I don't prefer it, guys. I have to be honest, just because of the symmetry. It's not the most beautiful. It would be a very, very quick zigzag, very shallow in time. But I would have to say it could be a valid higher. It could be a valid high, and we do get that movement down already. Just because, you know, you have the flat, you have the sideways range of the weekend, and from the pivot low here, you can count a zigzag. You can count a three-wave structure, which can give you the possibility of completing Y wave. And that's coming and hitting the weekly level. So, you know, I'm interested in shorts in this zone, right? I can scale in a short with the information that I have, regardless if this is the high. If we form a 5-wave impulse down here and then a corrective structure, I'm going to add to this position heavily on this correction, because I realize that taking out this low and coming down maybe to the 86 zone, you know, I'll just be, there are ways of adding to the position safely. You know, if you do get that weakness, right? It just really, really depends on your style. You know, trading has to be something that you need confidence with the confluence, with the scenarios. So, you know, you need to move as you go. Move as you go with the different possibilities here. And, you know, as mentioned, I would actually prefer to see, you know, some kind of a, you know, zigzag move here to the upside, which is a little bit more, you know, a little bit more symmetrical combined with your wave Y. This stands as my favorite scenario. Some kind of a complex corrective structure in this zone. Of course, a flat here could be a possibility where you have 3 waves up, 3 waves down, you know, and then this is the B wave, and then you form the C wave. You form a expanding flat, right, where you suddenly bang, 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 right, and you take out those highs, and you have a flat in wave W, your corrective structure in wave X, and then another flat in wave Y to then only move down. You know, combinations are endless. Well, not endless, but you only have like 4 or 5. You know, a triangle is also a possibility here when we try and, you know, combine WXY structures. But yeah, the zigzag is the favorite one. And I have to note here that after looking at this as a possible, you know, WXY, that, you know, there is a zigzag move up here it does look more zigzaggy than an impulse. Let's just really go here down through the rabbit hole, because you could. Contracting diagonal is a possibility. A contracting diagonal here is a possibility, which could be your A wave from that low. So you could have a little 5-wave structure here. You're kind of really looking for it, but there is a contracting diagonal. Your wave 5 is smaller than your wave 3. That's what you want to see. Your wave 4 is smaller than your wave 2. There's a possible contracting diagonal here as well, instead of a 5-wave structure. This is why, if we do chop around here and get that overlap, just like we did in the weekend, you know, I'm going to say, you know, guys, you know, I do think that we're going to hit the highs here at 91, maybe 92. And then we have a proper zigzag move. This can be counted as a contracting leading diagonal in a wave 8 of the zigzag. Yeah. You know, the overall scenario here at the moment is looking for short opportunities to come down, you know, I would say at least to sweep up the lows of the weekend. You know, I'm looking for a move down at least to this area, 87K zone. The problem is eventually, you know, is this the high? Is it not the high? Is it going to zigzag up? Most of the scenarios point out for a rejection here with that zigzag or not. You know, that's the complex situation, is figuring out, you know, is this the high? As explained, I would prefer another high. I would prefer a little bit more of a zigzaggy situation here throughout today and tomorrow, if I'm honest with you. So that's a little bit here of what I'm looking at, guys. You know, overall, the lower time frame probably came out into the VWAP at the moment. For those VWAP scalpers, VWAP tap. Yeah, for the moment, this movement is not looking extremely, man. Not sure if anybody, a VWAP is always an acceptable long position, guys, for all of those scalpers. Okay, it all depends. If you're happy with a movement of $500-600, right? VWAP tap is always an option for the scalpers. Okay, especially when you moved far away from it. A VWAP tap and a little pump. It all depends if you're scalping. I'm interested in the bigger move to the downside, right? I'm not that interested at the moment on these little scalping trades. This is actually pretty good for the local bulls. Okay, I would arguably discuss that this does look, yeah, it does look more three wavy. This wave to the downside had to succeed a little bit more. It did not. You tap the VWAP. You are overlapping right now. This is actually pretty good. It does start to look a bit more of a corrective-y structure. Even though a 1-2-1-2 eventually is possible still here in the zone. But yeah. Little scalp long. You know, it depends on, you know, because if you are entering here the VWAP, okay, which I would say it's very, very valid here for just a local scalp long with the potential of, you know, maybe hitting the highs, right? Maybe hitting the highs, but overall, I would treat it as a 2-3 to 1. You get a little pump reaction. You know, we are coming into resistance. We are looking for a rollover, very likely from 90K to 92K zone. I don't want to feel too bullish in this area, if I'm honest. And if I'm entering local longs at support, you know, I would treat them as scalps. I would leave a little bit open, of course, just in case the price decides to rally back to the highs. If this ends up being a, you know, if you take out these local highs, obviously it's going to be looking good to take out these highs. You know, this will be a corrective, high probability corrective range. And your ultimate confirmation comes, you know, by taking out this high. That's when probabilities really increase, because you realize that this is not starting an impulse. So really taking out this high is the game here. To really believe that obviously the probabilities are going to be high to take out this high. Okay, this could still be a double 1-2, right? Which is what people are not aware of when they're looking for a three-wave corrective structure, right? You're like, 1, 2, I'm looking for the ABC, and I want along the C wave, right? We are uptrending. We got the VWAP. I have to say it's a valid entry. VWAP is, you know, always a valid entry when we're looking at, you know, scalp trade setups, the session VWAP, you know, and if it is ending up as a three-wave structure, it just gives you a solid entry and a solid stop loss, and it gives you the potential to hit the local highs, okay, which is, you know, 90,500, which is not looking too bad. So there's a little bit of an aggressive entry. It's actually looking not too bad here for the bulls, almost sweeping up that lower high and obviously getting that pop here to the upside. So VWAP, you know, a lot of people do know about the VWAP. We were just focusing on other analysis at the moment, but when we do consider aggressive scalp entries, you need to give a bit of room for the stop loss. Don't, stick it just below the VWAP. Give it a bit of room. You're always going to get a bit more risk to reward on the reaction bounce. So yeah, that VWAP is doing pretty good at the moment. Let me know anybody that longed the VWAP with the potential of taking out the local highs, of course. Let's go through the comment section. And bull market isn't done until the low of 74k is swept. Yes, yeah. Well, I mean, this is the overall good scenario as well. When we do talk about the break of structure on the higher time frame, right? Where we're looking at the VWAP. That was a valid long, guys, at the anchored VWAP, I have to say. The bull market is not over until we break that higher low, right? Which would be the break of structure. I would have to say, well, if you need to buy Bitcoin low, if this is the confirmation of the bear market because of the of breaking the uptrend structure, I can tell you already that there would be a very good chance that this would be close to a local low for sure, and you're going to get an awesome relief rally. And the most bullish case scenario as well is that you have a flat structure on the higher time frame. I'm just pointing out the scenarios here. I mean, I'm happy to buy Bitcoin below $80,000 on spot. I mean, come on, if the game plan is to buy low, I can't say that the bear market is confirmed, right? Once we break below 74k, it's like the bear market is halfway through already. So I would want to buy Bitcoin low, right? So anyway, about this scenario, remember that flats always break local structure, and this is something that a lot of people just need to be aware of. A flat, actually breaks usually the structure, but ultimately gets a reversal. Because obviously if you're uptrending, your A wave is the correction, the B wave takes out the highs, but the C wave takes out the lows of the A wave most commonly. It can be a running flat as well, but so it is definitely possible that maybe getting below 74k is already getting close to the bear market lows. If we consider this being the bear market, I know a lot of people would say it's the 4-year cycle theory, nothing has changed, and we won't bottom out till the end of 2026, regardless if that is October or November. I mean, opinions are opinions, right? Opinions are opinions. So anyway, let's go through the comment section. Quick little tap to the VWAP. Very valid scalp long position. Very, very valid scalp long position, guys. It's an aggressive, quick entry. The scalpers know about the VWAP, right? So that was a very, very, very quick, valid long, guys. I was not aware, not even paying attention to the VWAP. But I have to say it was an acceptable, quick, long entry for a $500-600 move. Let me know in the comment section. 10 a.m. dumping incoming. I did long that drip. Says well, much love to you, my man. I did long that quick dip, or depending if it is session VWAP or anchored VWAP. Anchored VWAP did to a bounce. That's the session VWAP. Okay, when we talk about local VWAP, it's the session one. Okay, this is the session VWAP. So yeah, anyway, I'm interested in more shorts. I'm aware that this short could go into the negative. Just getting ready for that move down to 87, potentially $86,000. Treat it more as a swing trade. I am aware of 91, of 92 being hit. There's lots of levels of resistance. There's lots of combinations of Elliot wave theory here that do point out that the probabilities are higher to get a rejection in this zone. Okay, the probabilities are just higher to get the rejection in this zone. But as explained, it doesn't mean that this has to be the high and we need to get the rejection. You know, I actually like the combination of a flat X, you know, maybe a zigzag here, and then we correct down, right? So just be aware of that scenario. And of course, the probabilities of smashing through here are lower for the moment as it stands, right? The probabilities are lower to smash through this level if I am going to believe that this is the low. And we're forming a wave 1, wave 2, wave 3. We're smashing out here throughout the next, you know, between today and tomorrow, right, basically. Or other scenario, which would be even more bullish, 1, 2, 1, 2. We really correct down here. And then instead of forming that zigzag as explained, you know, we end up, you know, really rocketing here. And that would have to be a, okay, guys, this was the low. And this was a 1, 2, 1, 2. I stand here with this being the lowest probability, and you know the main reason why, you know, I need to explain why would that be the low probability. Why do you think? And remember, guys, you know, I'm just the dude on the internet that is giving his opinion and talking about the probabilities and the levels that I would, you know, I like to get into a trade and your understanding, and you know, just for you to be aware. And obviously this needs to combine with your analysis, or you need to absolutely disagree with the analysis, which is totally fine, right? We're just here to look for different combinations and really come to the conclusion on, you know, what's more ethical here, what's more, you know, what's the probability side of the movements of the market, right? And of course, you know, if I want to believe that this is the low, you know, the only conclusion that I could come up with is this one right over here. Let's put a bit of music. You know, the only conclusion that I can come up here with is this would have to be a contracting diagonal. Okay, and a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Very good whoever got into that VWAP, guys. Very, very good. Whoever was paying attention to the VWAP to give it a tap. Right now, there is a good chance that we take out these local highs. Probabilities are quite high at the moment that we're going to take out those highs again, guys. Okay. Whoever got into that VWAP is, you know, I'm just giving different explanations and you're just not paying attention here on the possibilities of the local internal scalps. But I know some of you are paying attention to this as you're listening on the explanations of the analysis. But that was a pretty good solid sniper trade, right? You're also coming to a high volume node, just a basic easy resistance support flip, right? That high volume node candle, kind of bit of volume strategy here. High volume. A high volume high is very important a lot of the times. Here you kind of got the fake out, but then here you tapped it with the VWAP. Very, very valid resistance support flip for a scalp. Now the probabilities are actually higher to take out this high, guys. So nice entry. Nice entry for the scalpers out there. I have to say, very, very valid. With just Confluence, resistance support flip, high volume candle, very, very nice indeed. Somebody said in the comment section, I did get into that long position. Absolutely awesome, guys. Remember, if you are interested in trading, guys, you got some great exchanges down below. Bluffin is an awesome one. Bluffin does have, you know, great perks down below. It is an affiliate link, okay? You do get $1,000 reward if you deposit $7,000. If you deposit $5,000, you're getting $750 on top of that. Okay, so you can have more capital, guys. Take advantage of these bonuses down below. You got Bluffin link down below. It's the first one, okay? First link in the description is for Bluffin. You only need an email and a password. That's it, guys. Take advantage of the bonuses that you get down below. So going back with the explanation here, and I'll go through the comment section later on, guys. Just give me a second because, we always need to consider the bullish case, even though it's low probability. And that's, a lot of the times I like to talk about the low probability scenarios first on the streams, when I prefer the other scenarios. But as we're getting the momentum up, there's no, this movement down looks very three wavy. It does look like we could claim that high at 90,500. It's just chopping, uptrending. The reversal could take many hours or even, a couple of days. And we chop around in this region between 90K and 92K. I'm just very much aware of that situation. So what would be the bullish case if I believe that this movement to the upside is, this right over here is going to start a major, bullish move. Santa rally, guys. Santa's come here to pump the price of Bitcoin. And, for the next coming days, I would have to, if I want to see this as a bullish structure, I need to fit in a contracting diagonal, leading diagonal here, if I want to believe that the price is going to absolutely explode in the next coming days, to get above 100K, right? So this for the moment stands as the lowest probability scenario. You might think, well, we've explained this on the higher time frame already, right? For a leading diagonal is low probability. Ending diagonals have higher probability than a leading diagonal. Okay, that's first of all, if you are going to get a diagonal, and diagonal by itself is very, very rare to see on the chart. So you're not giving this very high probability for this to be a wave 1 and this to be a wave 2, and you're literally building up 1 2 1 2 or a 1 2 3 4 5, and then you correct and then you break out. This for the moment has low probability, purely based on you need to find some kind of a bullish structure to the upside, which would have to be this one with this correction. Multiple 1-2s, forget about it. You literally swept up this low, and combining here a 1-2 and a 1-2, then this second wave 2 is much longer than this one, and we ain't going down that rabbit hole. We've talked about that already. So probabilities are just looking low. I would have to see if there's anything bullish starting from here. Okay, for the moment, this would have to be the low. This could not be the low because you have a flat structure. You can't start an uptrend in a flat. So this would have to be the low. And, the only conclusion that I have here right now for this to be something bullish, regardless if I'm looking for something bullish, which has low probability as explained, guys, but it's just you need to figure out something bullish here. So eventually this would have to be your first wave 1, and this your wave 2, and let me just turn this into that. So that's your wave 2 here already, and now you're either developing your wave 3 that we need a big volume breakout in the next coming hours. Between today and tomorrow, this really needs to continue steaming up here, breakout with high volume to consider 1 2 3, right? You're developing your third wave, then 4 and 5. I don't see that happening. I really don't see that happening. You want to manage risk eventually in this zone. I don't see this happening, guys. Do you see this happening? Let me know in the comment section. Do we think that we are, we've ended the move up, we've ended the move down, and we are starting a new bullish move to the upside, and potentially we are developing the wave 3? Let me know down below. Do you believe this is actually what you think is happening or getting developed? Lowest probability is still a possibility. That's very good. That's very true. Lowest probability is still a possibility. You're damn right, Suzanne. Much love to you. But not the priority. Exactly. Me, my man, it is true, but it's not the priority, right? That's not the priority scenario. Only considered when other scenarios invalidated. Exactly. Exactly. Bearish flag pattern. Yeah. I wish it was just a bear flag. We've been talking about this bear flag for such a long time, right? This is, you need to go in down the rabbit hole a little bit further, because this bear flag has been going on for many weeks right now, and the people that are, we might be coming up to test the scene of the crime, as they say, of the bear flag. People were saying about this bear flag already, many weeks ago. Obviously, people are like, this is the classic break of trend line. Okay, that's bearish. That's it. We're going down, right? And then you obviously, get the movement up here into this zone, and then maybe go down. This is why this is more interesting to get the rejection. People that have been shorting here last week, are not enjoying this price action to the upside. That's for sure. The breakout traders that short the breakout, they are questioning the scenario here, and they are hoping that we are going to get a rejection from this zone, right? So screw the bear flag, screw all of this crap, guys. This is a bunch of nonsense. This is a bunch of BS. You need to level up your analysis. Stop it with these trend lines and these BS bear flag scenarios, because then it's this, right? Then this is the low. Well, that's the bear flag. Well, I ain't gonna go down this hole, guys. Screw that. We are here for proper probabilistic, complex, scenarios, and going down the right zone. So there's many other bear flag and bull flag channels out there. There's many of them. You can lift a stone and you'll see some YouTuber talking about a bear flag or a bull flag. There's many of them. It's not going to happen here. Here you come for the real stuff, real complex, analysis that's going to take some time to learn, but you will get good, obviously you will get good with time. We're not always right, of course. We want to be right a lot of the times. Sometimes I do get them wrong, guys, and it's all good. I need to come onto YouTube and say, guys, this was wrong. The least probabilistic scenario played out, and I have to do the walk of shame if it is the case. But this is why risk management is what is the game here. Risk management is your best friend. No matter how high probability a movement is going to be, you always need to be aware of the bullish case, right? You always need to be defensive and manage risk. That's the best strategy that there is, your risk management. So let's talk about the bullish case has low probability. Okay, breaking out as explained with the contracting diagonal. You'd have to finish your correction here. This would have to be some complex WXY or WXYXZ or some complex choppy corrective structure to finish the low here. And this would have to be the impulse up, the correction, and maybe the impulse up. And then depending on the correction in the next coming days, we will figure this out, guys, just like we figured out this throughout yesterday's stream, right? Taking out these highs is just high probability, guys. And I'm not interested in this SFP. I would rather come into my preferred zone of resistance, which is taking out this high at least weekly level. Point of control. This is the zone that I'm happy to get into a short position, small position. Let's check how the price reacts here. Eventually, if we break through here, volume starts increasing, I'll have to cancel the position. We've got many levels to reject from. Golden pocket from the pivot high to the pivot low. The weekly has already got a reaction, but it's very three wavy move down. We already got a bounce, so the probabilities of taking the local highs are actually quite high based on the rejection. It's very three wavy. It's, you know, this does not look like the start of a bearish move, I can tell you that. So probabilities are high to take out the highs here. If we would have rejected and then this move down would have done this, boom, bang, right? Then, okay, now it's looking good. Now, you know, we've lost momentum. We've got an impulse down. This movement down, you know, looks very corrective. So probabilities, you know, are leaning to the side of, you know, very likely take out these local highs. So you just want to be aware of that situation for anybody that's going extreme short, right? With not good risk management. So many levels here, many levels to take into consideration. The weekly is one of them. We already got a rejection of, you know, I think it was about $600-700 from the weekly. Anybody that's not aware about the weekly level, we just need to go to the weekly chart, and it's a weekly close and open that has not been tested, right? If you have a weekly close and open that has, you know, continued to the downside and previous moves up have not tested it, once you test it, it is a reactionary level, right? Which is what we've done right now. We've actually rejected $500 or so in the last hour from this level. So, you know, some people would aggressively scalp it just for a $500 move down. I'm in, I'm getting out on a rejection, hitting the VWAP, for example, right? Which is kind of the case, right? You reject from the weekly level and you take profit at the VWAP. That's, you know, that's a strategy. You know, you take a short at resistance, you take profit at support, local support. Maybe you jump into a long. You need to be very active here, very ready for this scenario, but you could treat it as a scalp. You could treat it as a swing, as I am doing. You know, I'm happy for the price to go inside of this range and do whatever it wants. You know, I'm happy. Depends on, you know, how you're treating the trade. So we're coming up very likely to hit those highs of today. The movement down was after the wick to the upside was clearly corrective. Clearly corrective. Very good entry at the VWAP. Whoever managed to get to that VWAP tap here. VWAP tap. You know, very nice entry here for a scalp long to take out the highs. Scenarios. Okay, the weekly level, that's how, you know, we know about a weekly level for anybody that was aware, right? What is a weekly level? Well, a weekly level is the close and open that hasn't been tapped, right? This one's been tapped, as you can see, on the first week of December. It probably got a little reaction and then broke down, then got back up. So that's how you get a weekly level, right? Just for anybody that was asking about it. Not that nobody did, but I would like to explain the levels, right, as we do hit them and get a reaction, just to make it a complete education stream. So there's many levels here that we can consider as entry points. Golden pocket not been tapped just yet, missed it by a few $100s. Weekly is putting pressure. Weekly is putting pressure. Golden pocket is a beautiful zone, I have to say. Why is it so beautiful? Because we do have that fair value gap. We got those lower highs right there. This is a good SFP level. This 90,700 is a very good SFP level, at least for a scalp short, guys. You know, just be aware. Just need to wait for that level, have the alert, and take a possible aggressive short on the rejection. If you do break through it, then, you know, next level would be 91,500, where we have that range point of control. The entire range of the last month is coming in just after filling that fair value gap. Fill the gap, order block zone, you know, and then obviously, you know, 91,500 is the best zone here. So level to level. Weekly is already a valid entry. Weekly is already a valid entry. And this, remember, is a swing short idea. This is probably going to take a few days to get the move down. It's not get it. We should dump right now straight away. You know, this could chop here in this range. It could correct a little bit more, take out the highs again, and then move down. It could move down from here. It could take out the highs and then move down. You know, this is going to take a few days at least to develop. It's a little swing trade. So yeah, it's a little bit here what we're looking at. Very, very important zone. Muy importante. Esta zona es muy, muy importante. Very, very important zone of rejection. Oof. Revisited the weekly. Back tested that weekly level. Look at that back test. That was cheeky back test. And a little dump here. Very hard trade in my opinion. Very, very hard entry for all of those that are looking to scalp. I'm interested in the swing short already, guys. I've explained a little bit of what I'm seeing here, and you know, the movement down that I want to see in the next coming days, which is very, very likely going to come to this area in my opinion. You know, 86 to 87k is the zone that I am looking at to be hit in the next, you know, coming days or so. For this to be bullish and believe that we're going to get, you know, massive upside momentum is, yeah, it's just unlikely to happen in my opinion. Okay, so yeah, that's just something that I wanted to point out there. Shall we take a look at some levels? Shall we take a look at some cryptos, guys? Shall we take a look at some cryptos? Ethereum. Shall we take a look at? I don't know. Let me know in the comment section. Is it time to take a look at some different altcoins, or shall we stick to Bitcoin and zoom in on the 5-minute time frame to see if we can identify a scalp trade? Because there actually could be another scalp long position here as the probabilities are higher to take out the local highs. Let me know in the comment section. Hype, Ondo, BTC dominance, Solana, what? No, BTC only, says Rock Cyber. 5-minute BTC, only BTC, baby. Meme Cat, you know the game. BTC is the leader of the market. ICP looks good. Wow. Shall we take a look at ICP, guys? Let me know in the comment section. Yes, no, yes, no. Guys, remember, if you are interested in trading, okay, you do have bluffing. It's a great way to support the channel as well, okay? You get the best deals down below. Bluffing, you only need an email and a password to sign up, and you got the best bonuses. The link is down below, okay? If you want to continue seeing me here, of course, it's another way to support me. And, you know, it's basically an exchange that just requires an email and a password, and the best bonuses are available as you sign up with the first link, okay? ICP, yes, ICP, yes, Alex. In the next few minutes, will it dip to 89.5 again? Simon, set up to take the local highs. Set up to take up the local highs. Woo, Simon is in the game here. Very smart question. A setup to take out the local highs. Okay. Yeah, we need to go into the 5-minute time frame. 5-minute time frame. This movement to the downside, I have to say, looks corrective. We'll probably hit the 0.88 Fibonacci, or maybe missed it, maybe scratched it. Yeah, we did hit the 0.88 Fibonacci, which is all good. That's perfect. Probabilities are higher that we do take out the local highs here again, legends. Okay. So yeah, looking for some aggressive longs could be the option. VWAP is doing its job. Let's analyze the movement to the upside here. Then we can take a look at some altcoins, but let's see if we can get an internal scalp long. The VWAP was a quick scalp long. You know, this is only to take, you know, most of the profits halfway through. It would be nice to take out the local highs. I mean, this correction, not a bad. Zigzag move down, up, rangy structure. This does look pretty nice to be a bit of a 5-waver here. There's no overlap. I like this movement up. I like that movement to the upside. Let me just look at this zone. So we've got that end of the movement up here. Zigzag down, zigzag up, down. Very, very possible that this finished here, or actually the flat scenario that we talked about yesterday. Yeah, it seems like from this pivot, at least with this latest move up, a little bit aware of this being the zigzag. However, I like this correction to preferably finish here. With that zigzag up and a flat. I mean, this is 5 minute. This does look very 3-wavy. Let me just take a look at today's session volume profile, because that could be very, very interesting here. We hit the 382 Fibonacci. So, you know, right now what I understand is that there's a very good chance to take out the highs and not take out this low. However, if we are looking for a long position, you know, you want to get into a good corrective structure. So let me just double check here the session volume profile to take a look at the previous value levels, and we can jump into the 30-minute time frame to look at that. Bear with me here, guys. We're just gonna look for that possible long scalp day trade to take out the local highs here. Yeah, because it would be nice to actually get a move down into previous day value levels, either previous day value area high or previous day point of control. We'll get a range now from the weekend. As we do get this loading up at the moment, man, Tradingview is struggling here to load up. My goodness. Legends, let me know right away in the comment section. Smash up the like button. Probabilities are high at the moment to take out the highs again, guys, unfortunately, for all of those bears such as myself. Man, what's going on, Tradingview? Come on. Tradingview doesn't. Oh my. Is anybody having some Tradingview issues here? Holy smokes. This one's loading, this one's not. Yeah, I'm gonna have to wait a little bit here, unfortunately. Daily open, previous day value area high. That's what I'm interested. Daily open is a good one. And daily open is very, very low. Today's open is at 88.6k. It is a bit of a sharp move down here. Daily open, yeah, it's previous day values levels is very, very far away. Any naked point of controls, weekly naked point of control is very far away. yeah, I mean, if we do get a push down to sweep up this higher low, I'm going to label this. I do like the idea, legends, as explained, that we do form a zigzag here, more of a zigzag structure. So I think if we come down to sweep up this higher low, that's going to be a trigger for me as a potential long scalp. I would treat this as an SFP, and that comes with the idea, okay, that we are, there's a good chance that we do sweep up the local highs. I'm going to treat this level as an SFP just because I like the idea of this being a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we're coming down into that zone. Quick SFP, there it is. Oh, that was a quick entry. That was, very, very quick, I have to say. If you didn't manage to catch the ultimate low, did it just sweep up the low? Just about, man. This is fast. I like that zone. Just because this can be treated. You can give a little bit of room here. Where's that daily open? Daily open is here. And that was quick. Bitcoin not even letting us to get that scenario ready. Oh my smokes. Yeah, it was very, very quick. Very, very quick entry, guys. Man, as we were getting stuff ready. But yeah, I would treat that as the wave 4. That was a pretty quick entry. Damn, that was quick, guys. I'm not sure if anybody managed to catch that. But man, this is remaining patient at the same time. But the fact that we do have this kind of movement and overlap, you got a 3-wave down, a bit of a flat situation here, and now maybe another zigzag to the downside. I mean, this is 5-minute time frame, guys. Just need to be aware. Maybe another quick flat in this zone. Probabilities do lean a little bit more to take out this local high again. And because any corrective structures do like to come down to sweep up the 4th wave, and I would say that this is valid for a high volume here. Your wave 4 did not overlap the wave 1. Yeah, this is still very valid. This is very, very valid. I mean, this was the sniper trade. This is coming in theory with this scenario where it's very, very common for your ABC or WXY to sweep up the lows of your 4th wave. Maybe we sweep it again. I think local double bottoms here. If you miss that entry, I would give it another attempt if we come down and get a reaction. If we break it down, I would target the daily open, or no, the golden pocket, literally. 50% tapped. Yeah, this is a little bit of the scenario here. So if we do not manage to hold this zone and start, building up to take out the highs here again, I would treat a wick down here to the to the recent lows here again. A double bottom here would be acceptable. Very, very locally. I would give it a chance. It might bounce from here already. Very quick entry, guys. Not sure if anybody managed to get a good entry on this. But I can tell you already that this price action looks very corrective. Very, very corrective. Of course, this could still combine. This could still range It could still be choppy. So yeah, the best entries here, as explained, it's either sweep of this higher low, which is the highest volume candle level, move. That was a pretty solid entry SFP, as we were talking about the level here. Target is to hit the highs again, but this could take a little while potentially. Let me just look for another possible entry if we do come down here. Remember, we want to get into the corrections, not FOMO in on the bounce. You don't want to long this. You don't want to long here into resistance. You know, don't be afraid of longing the dips. That's where we want to long. So you need to have levels. SFP was a valid entry of this higher low. If the price decides to come down again, if you do not SFP from this local low for a quick, you know, sniper trade, stop loss, you get the rally, you're defensive. You know, this might be the one that actually rallies. This might be even the one that rallies from here, right? And you're just going to consolidate on this pump and then, you know, move higher in the next couple of hours. But yeah, if we decide to come down, you need to have a plan. You need to be ready, right? So a sweep of this low is still an acceptable, valid entry if you missed getting into this zone. The problem is longing here right now is, I hope people got the idea about this as we were explaining it. But yeah, we just like to explain so many different scenarios. Simon Jones, that, you know, we basically were covering the long setup to the highs, as this is highly likely corrective. You know, we are interested in locals, levels of support, SFPs, to get an entry basically, right? Which is this one eventually right there. This might be the one. This might be the one that actually, you know, manages to pump through the highs again. This movement is highly corrective, so it is in our interest to look for longs here because there's high probability of taking out the highs again. So plan 2, right? Well, we need another plan. What if the price decides to take out the low again? Well, I could, you know, there's two main scenarios. It's either, you know, local double bottom, wick the low again. As you wick the low, it gives you an entry. You can manage risk very, very well. Stop loss, you're looking for the rally here to then sustain and then push up to take out the highs again. If you break that recent low, you need another good level of confluence, and there's no other best level than the golden pocket, right? Golden pocket is obviously the bomb diggity level, right, of Fibonacci. That would be actually coming down to sweep up these lows almost, right? That would be nice to get that wick beneath these lows, of course. Yeah, it's either this zone with the golden pocket or a double bottom from here. And this area is the no long zone, right? And the same as here beneath the daily open is the no long zone. Okay, so I mean, this is how you manage risk literally, right? Because I know a lot of people do not like to close their position in a small loss, right? Or a big loss if they risk too much. But this is literally what you know, what I would be looking at here. It's either double bottom from the recent lows or golden pocket with the daily, some reaction in this area. If not already, that's the low. So let's see. Maybe we get another re-entry here. The target is taking out the highs. If you break the recent lows, no trade zone till you actually get to the trade zone. Golden pocket, daily level, higher lows. This is the area. If you break this area, you know, there's just no trade no long to be taken if you continue moving down to your next level of support. And if you break down from here, I don't, if we break below today's open, then yeah, I could arguably discuss that, this is maybe going to roll over already. So you just don't want to have long positions. I'm adding to the long, despite there is high probability of taking out this high. It doesn't mean that we need to take the high now, right? But there are several levels of possible entries here. So yeah, let's see how the price develops here in the next coming minutes. Well, that's a little bit of what we got. That's a little bit of what we got here. Yeah, we always want to consider the bearish case. Always want to consider the bearish case. What if the price has formed a three-wave move up here, as explained at the beginning of the stream, right? Where we have the flat structure. Okay, in this area, we have the flat. We have the correction wave X, and then this has already been your zigzag and your wave Y. I am not leaning that this is my favorite scenario and we already dumped from here. Purely based on the local price action, it seriously looks more corrective. So I am in favor of taking out the highs again and managing to form a higher low somewhere in this region to take out the highs. So that's currently what we are betting on at the moment on the price here of Bitcoin. Let's see. So I think there's the strategy and the entry and the risk management is, I think it's clear, guys. I hope people do understand. I'm not sure. Maybe Simon, you did catch that low for an entry. But that was the option, 50% with the higher low of the wave 4. Very common in any corrective structure, either a zigzag or a WXY complex and very choppy, rangy scenario. So sweeping up, getting below the fourth wave, and it doesn't mean that you need to SFP the fourth wave and move up. It happens a lot, but it doesn't mean that you cannot claim the low again and then go up. You just need to be ready for a next plan. And this was why that if you claim the local lows again, I would treat it as a double bottom. And if you break in this zone, I would treat the golden pocket and the daily open as the two levels. If you break down beneath this zone, I would no longer want to be participating in a long position anywhere in this zone. I think you could obviously sweep up the lows already of the weekend. It's higher low or it's not a higher low. And the higher low needs to be done at certain levels of Confluence, right? If it's not done at the levels of Confluence and you break beneath them, it's just you just don't want to fight the movement down. If it doesn't want to form a higher low, you do not decide. You do not decide that. So we're coming back down to the lows here. Let's see if we do create that SFP. It would be interesting to take a look at the stock market. See what the stock market is doing. Let's take a look at stock markets. This is local scalp possibility to the upside, guys. The main scenario on the higher time frame, remember, is looking for a rollover from here. Okay, so that still remains the main scenario on the higher time frame, despite looking for an internal bounce here. It's very much possible, right? This is a scalp potential. It's managed differently. Local double bottom potentially right now on the formation. Maybe a local double bottom right now here. yeah, kind of, it's wanting to, it doesn't want to. Kind of wants to. Not a bad attempt. If not, golden pocket with daily open. Let's see, it's probably going to take a bit to develop. But main scenario on the higher time frame, guys, is, you know, we are at higher time frame resistance, and what I want to see is that rejection from this zone. Okay, regardless, taking out the highs locally here. We're still uptrending in the last few days, so it is natural to believe that we could take out the highs again, especially considering the lower time frame. It looks very corrective, the movement down that we got. So yeah, it's like, you know, it's lower time frame giving the potential of the move up here, and higher time frame, you know, obviously understanding that taking out the highs again or not, you know, I am looking for that, you know, rollover down below 87k, maybe 86, maybe even lower. Different time frame locally, it does look good to take out the highs. Higher time frame, it looks good to get exhausted in this zone, right? So it all depends on, you know, your trading here. We adapt to the local market conditions. We look for longs, we look for shorts, whatever comes to the market. Let's see how many likes we do have. I think it's a matter of an hour we would be at 86k. I am attempting the long trade as well, but also in the short. So let's see. But yeah, that was a good one right there. I think it's only a matter of an hour that we get to 86k. This is not a very great start of an impulsive move down, I have to say. I want to check the S&P 500. Yeah, S&P 500 also getting that dump just after New York Open. Local volatility, and now getting the movement. Well, not much volatility, I have to say, just very, very locally on the stock market. S&P. Man, the S&P 500, are we getting the Santa rally to create new all-time highs on the stock market? Let's go. Let's go through the comment section. Long or short? Hey, man, come on. Yuxuan, there's no way. I'm not sure if you just joined right now. Simon Jones was asking here on the lower time frame. Yeah, long attempt here on the double bottom. Higher time frame, small short. I mean, I need to use both of the exchanges. But yeah, local double bottom is acceptable here, locally here. And I have to say, acceptable sniper trade. We can be defensive, put your stop loss at break even or very, very close to the lows. You don't need to, you know, manage risk. There would be another attempt on this trade. I would say that there would be another attempt on this trade if it does decide to lose that higher low and come down to the golden pocket daily open zone. It could still be a little bit rangy, but I like the idea that we do possibly take out the local highs still. So yeah, and it just want to be aware, of course, on the higher time frame that I am looking for that rollover. There's no doubt about it. Okay, so these are internal little scalps to be very, very defensive with these local double bottoms. If we break down, of course, you're looking at risk to rewards that are, I'm happy to look at risk to rewards that look like this. I'm happy to get stopped out. And then if we do get stopped out, I'll be happy to look at the other level, which is the golden pocket from this pivot low and the daily open. Bit aggressive, bit choppy, catching those SFPs. Obviously the scenario here of moving, better ways are obviously looking for a local bullish market structure change, right? Get a bit of steam here. So you realize that this is a corrective scenario. You are bouncing, and then longing here from here is also the option, but it doesn't want to. It's looking for the bounce, but it's it's not wanting to bounce. The reaction here at golden pocket would be my next option with the daily open, and I'm looking to target highs. I mean, that would be my next possible attempt, and if not, we look to roll over already from here. But stock market doing ES. Stock market pumping dumps, dumping pumps, a little bit of a corrective range here, which could help Bitcoin. Looks corrective. Stock market is getting a pump. We want stock market to range or pump. If stock market dumps, we know what Bitcoin does. Bitcoin follows, right? So as long as stock market is uptrending and very choppy, rangy, it does, obviously increase the probability to continue the momentum to the upside. So bit slow here. VWAP was broken, so that's acting a little bit as resistance on these little bounces. A reclaim of the VWAP would be ideal here, which is not happening. Let's go through the comment section and see what's going on. Bull trap, 85k lows incoming. Yeah, I mean, shorts are looking more attractive on the higher time frame, that's for sure. These local scalp setups are just very, very internal. Very, very internal scalp setups. But, ideally, the 90 to 92k zone, regardless if it's a weekly rejection, a weekly rejection, the golden pocket rejection, the range point of control rejection at 91.5. We just don't know which one exactly is going to be the one that is going to reject. There is, even though if I don't like it, a possibility of a completed WXY, very, very shallow zigzag here to take out the highs. I don't like it, if I'm honest. I would prefer to see this like a correction and take out the highs again. As explained, okay, boom, boom, boom. This is why daily open this low over here, you might range for a little bit longer. The move down looks corrective, I have to say. So this might point out the thesis that we have from a few hours ago that we explained on the 15-minute time frame, which is let's see if I can go to the 15-minute here and talk about the scenario that I kind of like that was explained where, let me just get the VWAP in the middle. I'm trying to clean the chart. I know it's horrible, guys, and it's difficult, and it's just a bunch of noise for a lot of people, but treating this as a flat 3-wave up, 3-wave down, you know, impulsive move up here for a wave W, sideways correction, ending, this could be the discussion right now, either here or here, preferably at this low over here. So then here we do have a move up corrective zone, and then another move up throughout the next coming hours to take out the local highs 91, 91.5, hit bigger levels of resistance, and then form a proper, you know, WXY zigzag here on your wave Y, right? Flat in WX and a bit of a larger, you know, larger Y, just because this would be very, very shallow for this to be the end and you'd start dumping from here. Symmetry is important on each waves. You know, this is why, you know, and the movement down does not look impulsive. So any longs at levels of support, you know, are going to be welcomed, because the movement down here, this bounce hitting the 0.88, which is, you know, not common for wave twos, but we have seen them in the past. You know, they do happen. But the fact they're on the lower time frame here, we can break that down right away. The fact that on the lower time frame here, on the 5-minute legends, bear with me. This is just like yesterday, you know, yesterday, you know, this could range still. You form a 3-wave structure down, okay? And you get this overlap and you hit the 0.88, right? Regardless, later on or you know, here, a 3-wave down and hitting the 0.88 gives a very, very good chance that this is corrective, and you're going to take out the highs as explained yesterday, right? At 89.3 or 89.4, the highs of Friday, right? So, you know, with that conclusion, you're uptrending. The movements down look very poor for the bears. The bears, you know, if this is going to be bearish, then they're not doing a great job here, right? If this is going to be bearish, they're not doing too well, and the probabilities are high to take out the highs again, right? So I know it is in our nature to want to catch a short position at the highest level possible, because I catch the high and I'm an absolute legend because I did so. And I can tell you already, throughout the last few days, there's many people that were trying to short, you know, this downtrend. People are trying to short this bounce, there's no doubt about it. But what they do not understand is that the movements to the downside are looking very corrective. So, which points out to take out the highs again. You know, I hope that you do follow up here with this. Is what we explained yesterday, and also in this zone here. You know, what can I say? You know, this movement down, I don't see it too bearish. I don't see this being a major high to nuke down to 86k in an hour, like someone said in the comment section. You know, this is like, I don't think so. It's an unlikely scenario, right? If we look at what is more likely and what's not likely, that is an unlikely scenario for the moment. The movement down does look corrective. It doesn't look like a major start of a move down. I mean, it all comes into this local move. It doesn't mean, as well, very important, it does not mean that you need to pump from this point and hit the highs, right? It doesn't mean that. This could still range and you take out the lows, you hit the daily open, or you hit the golden pocket, and then you maybe get the rally to take out the highs, which I would really kind of prefer a little bit of symmetry here. A little bit of symmetry to form that zigzag up. But I am willing to attempt longs in this zone, there's no doubt. Double bottom locally, yes. We move down. I will attempt the golden pocket, which is close to the daily open, because I understand that this looks choppy and corrective, which means that there's a good chance to take out the highs at a later stage, you know, regardless if it's in 2 hours or if it's tomorrow morning, right? If I'm awake and I have, you know, these levels set with alerts, golden pocket, daily open, a little bit more of a rangy structure, you might wick down here. It forms a bit more of a sideways zone, or it might pump from here in the next coming hours to take out the highs. So for the moment, longing responsibly at levels of support is still an option. It is still an option here. Responsibly, not longing and adding to long positions, you know, because you don't want to trade like that. Enter where you need to enter and have your stop loss where you need to have it. And I know it's very, very, you know, a lot of people don't want to follow that risk management, and they just want to long or add to the longs very aggressively. And, you know, I believe that it's going to form a higher low anyway, so I'm just going to long here and put a huge bunch of limit long positions, right? And that's going to be, you know, 10% of my capital. And then the price decides to do this, and then you get pissed off because you did not, you know, use responsible risk management. Don't trade like that, guys. It's just a matter of time that you will fail. I've been there, done that. I've been in the ground, and you know, you don't want to trade like that. Trade the levels. Trade the exact levels. Have your stop loss beneath the exact levels. That's it, right? You don't want to basically, you know, enter that trade, add to the position. Got wicked out there. We got wicked out of that position. I don't believe it. Wicked out of the position. Anyway, let's go. How high can the head go? 1,000 Cheems. Or what's this? How high can the head go? Cheem coins. Hi, bro, from India. Much love. Pull already. Much love to you. Locally, CVD looks okay for a move higher. Absolute legend. We got Simon here. Simon is a beast as well. CVD looks pretty good for a move higher. Yeah, it looks like that we are getting some. We have taken out these lows, so we should be seeing some bullish CVD divergence. Low callable bottom. There is all acceptable for a long, guys. There is some bullish CVDs. CVD is looking good, at least on Bybit. So we did get a bunch of shorts entering on Bybit. Bunch of shorts entering on Bybit here. And that is also very good. Woo! Lots of shorts entering on Bybit here. Lots of them. 8.7 million shorts entered at 89,100. Mucho short down here. They're probably going to get trapped. Lots of shorts trapped here. Oh, the price is pumping now a little bit. You don't want to short here. That is for sure. When you have, you know, such a very, very corrective overlappy structure. Check ICP. You were right about the bottom, Andy. Did you get in? Let's take a look at ICP. Thank you very much for confirming that, my brother. Much love to you. I think, well, let's zoom out on ICP here. There we go. We did get the bounce from that low. Yeah. You know, looking for a little bounce of 5-10% potentially. Well, this was more, 20% from that low. Man, yeah, I'm not sure what time this happened. This happened at around about 5 a.m. So, yeah. 5 a.m. in the morning. Yeah, I did not get into this, but hopefully some of the guys, you know, did get in here. This is one of the altcoins that we talked about a few days ago, I think, right? ICP claiming that low of this range was an awesome SFP to get into. Anyway, Bitcoin is pumping. It looks like it wants to claim the highs again, guys. It is a corrective structure. It looks a corrective structure. And it does look like it, you know, we're getting a reaction pump at the moment here. At that zone, right? So yeah, let's see how this does develop in the next coming hours. What's the ES doing? Anyway, whoever got into that ICP long position, absolutely epic, right? We did talk about that level a few days ago, I think, guys. When was this? When was when were we? It was probably on last Tuesday or Wednesday. I think we were a few cents above the level. Didn't quite hit it yet. Beautiful reaction from hitting that zone on Thursday. And it's a 20% move. So very, very good bounce. Was expecting a larger bounce here. Instead of, you know, really grinding and just getting a poor bounce and grinding down. Bit of a larger bounce was kind of expected here on ICP. Bitcoin bouncing here from this zone of interest. We are analyzing this movement down as a corrective structure. And for the moment, at least from the last swing higher low, it does look like that this could be a 5-waver sweeping up the lows of the 4th wave. Remember, this is the wave with the highest amount of volume. That's where you want to label your potential wave 3 locally. And for the moment, sweep the lows of the 4th wave is what is most common to get the reaction bounce. Let's go through the comment section. Just discovered your channel, Andy. Thank you for streaming. AA916. Much love to you. Thank you very much. 4-hour candle closing. We have from Beth Maria Vallejos. 4-hour candle closing right now. Let's take a look. I got wicked out, guys, off that position. I got wicked out. Four-hour candle close. Not the best looking. 4-hour literally SFPing from the Wednesday highs here. But still, this does not mean anything, huh? This does not mean that we need to reject from this point. You know, we're likely going to take out those local highs. Anyway, let's go through comment section. Let's smash up the like button. We're going to stick around here on the stream for another hour at least, guys. So smash up the like button. Let me see. I'll go through comment section. Another hour. Oh, people don't like me taking a look at altcoins. Let's get to 250 likes. We can do it. Support the channel, guys. We are here to talk about internal scalps, higher time frame trades as well. Lower time frame, it is acceptable to believe, based on the local price action, that we could take out the local highs again, and internal levels of support, as explained, are acceptable to attempt this long to take out the high. And on the zooming out side, it is in our best interest to look for a larger move down that could be coming in the next coming days, okay? So the scalp longs are only to take out the highs, possibly again. But we are, you know, well, what are you, bullish or bearish, right? Locally, very locally bullish, very locally, possibly taking out the highs again. But zooming out, you know, this is the zone, guys. This is the zone. We're in the zone for that movement down, which I do believe is going to hit 87 to 86k. Okay, so let's go, let's go. Comment section time. Smash up the like button. Rudy, hello chartist, have a great trading day. Rudy, much love to you, my man. Thanks for joining the stream. Love from India. Hi bro from India, absolutely awesome. Check ICP. You were right. That feels so nice. Feels nice for somebody to say that in the comment section. Nice setup. Much love. Much love, brother. Rudy here in the comment section. Let's go. Love these streams. Thank you, Vince. Much love to you. Much love. Hola de Chile, region Toma Turbas. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Andy, can you check ICP on the smaller time frame, 30 minutes? Oof. Thank you, Divan Time. Check out ICP as well. We can, Andy, can you please check out Anime Coin once for me, please? We can take a look at that. We know that we try to look at Bitcoin most. I got in, thank you. A nice little profit. Alex, much love. I got in, nice little profit. Here we go. We've got those people getting into these little scalp trade setups. Yes. You were right about ICP. Bottom. Absolute legend here, Alex. Some people getting into those trade also. Guys, remember, if you are interested in trading, Bluffin, awesome platform. You got BTCC as well. Bluffin is, you know, one of the best out there, in my opinion, centralized platforms. You have the decentralized option as well down below, okay? Check out the link. Check out the bonus. Bluffin, great deposit bonus at the moment. Another way to support the channel legends. Nice setup. Some people getting into that local long position. Absolutely epic. That's what I want to see. People trading responsibly, understanding the levels, understanding the entries, understanding the risk management. That is what I want to see, legends. Phenomenal. I'm going to go around the table and then I'm going to go through the comp section again here, guys. Okay. For the moment, whoever's in that long from that 89,200 zone. Muy bien, muy bien, muy bien. Just for little internal scalp, I would leave some open just with that potential of hitting the highs. Of course, remember the range could continue. You might get another entry coming down at the golden pocket or hitting the daily open and then getting the bounce. It might come and hit the highs from here. It might come and hit the lows and then the highs, right? You just need to be adaptive. You need to understand the levels. Smash those likes. Let's go around the table. And then we are going through the comment section and see what's going on. I know a lot of people want the rejection. I want the rejection as well. Down to 86k. A lot of people are saying dump coming, dump coming. Not sure if it's going to happen soon here. There's a good chance of taking out these local highs. Okay. Let's go. Awesome internal scalp today with you, Andy. Much love. Paz Maria Vallejos, much love to you. Paz Maria Vallejos de Barcelona, right? Getting into the scalp. Good cue from here. Where do you think ICP is going? We can take. Waiting for yo-yo. Take high, low, high. Vincent, much love to you, brother. I'm going to go around the table, guys, as we get those likes getting destroyed to 300. And, you know, we can focus a little bit on more Bitcoin. Maybe some altcoins. Guys, people leave my stream when I go and flip to altcoins. Seriously, I see the views go. People leave. When I talk about ¿Qué pasó con Tron? Something happened to Tron coin. We can take a look at that. Let me go around the table, take a drink of water, stretch my legs. I'm going to stretch my legs, guys, okay? Damn. So, you know the deal. I've been to the gym today. I've been to the gym, but sitting down for 3 hours plus, you know, come on. I'm going to get a flat bum. Raining Hearts. Let's go. Right, something happened. When I look out to anime Andy, I'll wait. Okay, anime coin. Okay. Anyway, somebody's saying about Tron, TRX. What happened to Tron? Tron coin. Let's go. See what's going on here with Tron. Let me know if the music is too loud or it's okay in the background. Something happening to Tron coin. Nothing happened to Tron. TRX. I thought we must have had a major pump or a major dump. Apparently we did not. Someone was saying this in the comment section. What happened to Tron coin? And it seemed like nothing really happened. Let's go. What did you train today? Today I did a bit of shoulders, triceps, and did a 40-minute run, about 4.2 miles. That's what I did today. I like to do a lot of cardio. I need to work out on building muscle. I'm, you know, not the strongest. I was, not anymore. KJS Trading, much love to you. Thanks for the super chat. Let me know if you want to know anything. Thanks for the super chat, bro. Anime 2 Andy. Look, crypto, Vpol, let's take a look at this anime coin and then we'll stick to Bitcoin because people don't want me to take a look at altcoins. They want me to stick with Bitcoin. You know, this was a local long, guys, that was acceptable. Double bottom. It's you know, the move down does look corrective. There is a good chance that we do take out the highs. For the moment, guys, the movements down are looking very choppy, very corrective. We are uptrending. Okay, I know that we want to detect the absolute high for the rollover, but just be aware we need to be very adaptive with the market condition. And if the movement down is, you know, very overlappy, we're probably looking at a correction here, which only means that, you know, there's a higher chance that we're going to take out the highs again. Okay, and hopefully we reject. Hopefully the top could be a trade. Hopefully the SFP of these lower highs where we have this fair value gap could SFP. Make sure to treat these levels as guidelines, legends. These are the guidelines. Okay, respect the strategy, respect the guidelines. Respect the guidelines. If we break through, you don't want to enter the short, right? It's like breaking through this higher low on the lower time frame. If you break this level, this low over here, you don't want a long, right? You want a long right there, local double bottom. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sweep up the fourth wave. This looks corrective. You have a chance to hit the highs again. If you break this level, look for the next level. Daily open. Where did we open today? Here. Is that in confluence with any fibs? Yes. No. Golden pocket. Golden pocket from this low. Golden pocket from this low over here. Have guidelines on the chart, right? Guidelines on the chart. Manage risk accordingly, guys. I hope you do learn a lot here on the stream and you do understand the risk management, okay? Because risk management is your number one strategy that you need. So yeah, let's take a look at this. Sorry guys, let's take a look. Somebody was talking about this anime coin. What is this? Is that the ticker symbol as well? This is pumping like crazy. Anime coin. What the heck is going on with this? Man, oh, well, this one I mean, this one, it's about time that it pumps because, man, it's been in a downfall for, you know, over a year here. All altcoins are looking very bad. This is getting some nice movement, nice little pushes throughout the last few days. 54 million market cap. Anime coin. Let's just take a look at this just for the sake of it. But then we're going back to Bitcoin, guys, okay? And we're going to look at different local scenarios for anybody that didn't get into that long scalp trade. We're going to try and figure out the scalp setup, okay? So yeah, bear with me here. Let's just take a look at this anime coin. Man, there's not even a lot of liquidity here on on OKX, which is a very large exchange. Kraken, not much data here on Kraken, but anyway, this pumped out of nowhere. What can we say? These are unpredictable pumps. Look at this. There's no analysis to be done here with these wicks. Low liquidity, low volume. The candlesticks don't even look right here on the exchanges. So we can't take a look at this. Come on. Yeah, what can I say? You know, this is nothing to, you know, a good level of rejection here for anime, I can tell you already, is this lower high right there. Very, very classic zone to reject. Fair value gap. If you are interested in looking for a short on anime, the 0.011 is the level. Is the level if you're interested in shorting this lower high with the fair value gap. There's no doubt about it. We ain't going to talk much about this. Let's go flip back into Bitcoin, guys. Bitcoin. Is it pumping? Is it ranging? Small movement for the moment from that pivot. Almost a 1%. Scalpers are very, very happy with almost a 1% move. What's this level? Let's get that out of the chart. Bear with me here, guys. I'm trying to figure out what's going on. Zone. There is the potential of this being the lower. There is the potential of this being the low. Next stop, we take out the highs. Zigzag, flat, move up. Yeah, it looks like we're gonna possibly take out those highs here in the next maybe 1 or 2 hours, possibly. Zigzag, aggressive flat. This is possibly what we're looking at here. This is probably what we got here. Zigzag down, flat, and another flat WXY, move up to take out the highs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Very common to sweep up the fourth wave. And yeah, this is for the moment what we have. The movement down looks very, very corrective and choppy, guys. High probability in taking out the highs. What can we say? This is what we got at the moment. So and there's no short trades, at least for me here, to be taken in this area. Okay. I think we're likely pumping up here to take out the highs. Whoever got into that long local double bottom here, very cheeky, very nice. Very good. Paz Maria Vallejos is in a long position. I know that. Andy, why don't you trade Forex? Thanks. I only started trading in futures. I started trading futures in 2017 and transitioned into Bitcoin and crypto in 2018, and mainly focusing fully on Bitcoin throughout 2018-19. I do take a look at altcoins, but I consider more Bitcoin eventually for the trading. It's just it takes one asset, right, to scratch some dollars from it. You don't need to trade 10 different assets. But I don't know. I think I like Bitcoin. Bitcoin's nice with volume levels and Elliot wave theory, and yeah, just Bitcoin is like the one that is I enjoy eventually trading, because I can follow up the movements. Forex, if I'm honest with you, I haven't even tried trading Forex or analyzing Forex, understanding Forex. I just purely started with futures, stock market, and then transitioned to crypto. But yeah, I'm not even curious about it, really. But yeah, compared to Forex, crypto is a different beast. Meme cat. The hardest market to ride on. Yeah, I think so. I've heard that before as well. I've heard that Forex is very difficult, has very different movements, and yeah, futures without a doubt is for me the way to go, and especially Bitcoin. Not much to say about this movement, about this little range, guys. There's a good chance that we take out the local highs. I know people want to catch the highs, but for the moment, the movements down are looking corrective. We are uptrending. So what can we say? Whoever jumped into that long position is an absolute legend. We've got Paz Maria Vallejos in that long. She confirmed that not long ago. Jumping into that long position from those lows. Let's go. Andy didn't pay the internet bill. Am I lagging? Guys, let me know in the comment section. Am I lagging? Andy didn't pay. It seems our connection does look good on my side. Is it a short? No, we're talking about the probabilities here of very likely taking out the highs. Okay, so above the highs, we can look for, depends if we do get this movement and we correct, be aware that this could be a wave 3, 4, 5, and then we come into levels of confluence. I'm not sure if we will manage to reach the range point of control at 91.4. We're gonna have to see here a little bit. I think this would be an aggressive short if we an aggressive double top. I think it could pop out a little bit here. I think we could pop out a little bit if we do claim the highs. I would be aware of this SFP. I don't like it too much, because if you get a, possible 5 waver here, corrective structure, you're starting your first move up potentially in an impulse. Your wave 2, your wave 3. If you wave 3 SFPs, then look for the next one, your wave 5. That's the one that you want to get into, not the high volume one, right? Kind of a little bit of what happened here. Look at this lower high right there. You get the corrective structure down. Look how the price moves up from here. You get your first wave, your correction, the move up with high volume, right? You do SFP, you do create a little, correction SFP, right, from this pivot high. This is the highest amount of volume though that you have. And then on the movement to the upside, you can start labeling this as your wave 3, right? And this is the zone. This is the 5th wave coming into levels of resistance, is the one that you want to take into consideration for the short trade, right? If that is clear. So with that theory, and where we rejected here was the weekly level. I mean, how better can that be? If you have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you're going to get a lot of traders wanting to catch this SFP, maybe not managing risk or whatever, or getting stop loss further away, or adding to the position, or not protecting, or maybe shorting late, believing that this is a double top. They short late and they get stopped out. You don't want to be that guy, right? You want to understand, if this is a corrective structure, if this is the first leg up, right? If you move up here, there's going to be some people wanting to catch the double top. So you might break through, you might come down, and then you take out the highs again, and then you roll over. You want to get into this 5th wave, not into the 3rd wave with high volume taking out the high, right? And this could rinse and repeat, basically, right? This looks very corrective. The probabilities of hitting the higher are very likely at this point. People that wanting to catch the top would want to enter at a liquidity grab double top situation, and just be aware, of course, that if this is the low of the correction, you're looking at the first wave getting developed at the moment, and then the 3rd wave, 4th, you're looking at maybe the 3rd wave pumps and looks like it's SFP, but it does not successfully SFP, just like this one right over here. And then it takes another leg to the upside, and then it gets the movement down. We have a range point of control at 91,500. Maybe that could be the one that actually gets the 5th wave in and rejects from, right? So it is important to understand the waves that are getting developed, just like the long trade that we explained, at 89.2k, to take out the local highs. I understand that this is a zigzag down, this is a flat. We could have another sharp flat here. It's extremely corrective. SFP of this low, which is very common for a 4th wave sweep of the lows. You do have other levels just as another plan. I'm still in favor of taking out the local highs. So yeah, you get the deal, right? I think so. Anyway, we try and keep this educational. I hope you learn a lot of things, a lot of tricks, a lot of, different tips. Good risk management, guys. We are here to make you a better trader. It will happen. You need to stick to your guns. It will happen, guys. It just takes a little bit of time. You don't need to catch every single trade. There's opportunities every day. every minute. Not every minute, come on, I wouldn't say every minute. I can't detect a trade every minute, but every day, every other day, we can't, you know, it's realistic to detect a few trades in the week. So we are here to do that, guys. I'm going to be here on long live streams. Whoever got into the long position here, good job. You realize the risk management, you realize, you know, that the zone where it could dip to, get out of the trade, re-enter. If you got stopped out at break even, it doesn't matter, there's another trade around the corner. I would like to see this for a new short position, some kind of a correction. Hopefully it might just squeeze out here, but if we do correct a little bit here in this zone, if it does happen, I'm looking for a 5-wave move. That would be the ideal scenario here. If it just moves up from here very aggressively, I would be aware, right? I would be like, why are you moving so fast to the upside? It might be more bullish than I thought. Maybe the internal 5-wave move up is going to happen here. I would prefer a pullback, but I literally want to look for the kind of this, right? And then look for the entry of the short. If the price does develop in a 5-wavy structure, just like we did right over here, right? It is very 5-wavy. Don't say it does not look very 5-wavy from this pivot low. And come into the levels of resistance, right? Which is eventually, I mean, let me get that drawing out of the way. If you get that 5-wave move develop, pay attention to the local waves on the 5-minute, where you at, you know, and you know, obviously you want your levels to be respected. It's either these lower highs, that's a very nice interesting level at 90,700. There's a very interesting quick rejection zone, guys. It is very, very nice indeed, that's for sure. I would treat this as an aggressive SFP entry. Those lower highs after the fair value gap is a very, very classic SFP zone, which is sitting at $90,700. And that's in confluence with the golden pocket as well. From the highs of the 9th of December to the lows of basically on the 18th of December, right, on last Thursday. Golden pocket is actually just sitting right there, 61865, just above those highs from the drop to the downside. So muy interesante for an SFP. Swing failure pattern, failed breakout, just like the weekly here. Let's see. Treat those levels as guidelines, as barriers. If you break above them, you're not interested in being in a short. Yeah. Let's go. Smash it up, guys. Those like buttons. Let's go. We're almost at 300. Come on, legends. We can do better. We provide the analysis. We talk about the probabilities. We talk about these scenarios. Share some love. After local high sweep, is 92k more probable or a dump towards 85k? Let's talk about that right away. Why not? After local high sweep, is 92k more probable or a dump towards 85? Local highs, yeah, this is the thing. Let's break down for all of the people that are just joining in right now, because I know this is a long live stream. There's people that are not going to watch this tomorrow, and people that are breaking down. Let's try and understand that people that are just joining in right now. Let's try and understand what we could be looking at here. Yeah, let's break that down. Let me just clear a bit of the levels here. and start fresh with someone is asking here in the comment section. Staffer1, much love to you, brother. Thanks for joining the stream. Much love to you, my man. Much love to you, my man. MyGo decentralized trading platform, guys. Check it out down below. Smash the like, guys. Let's go. Yeah. For me, the probabilities to move higher here and break out are very low, guys. Okay, get a explosion is very low, and I am looking for this on the higher time frame to be the topping zone, topping area, and I am looking for the price to reject from this zone with high probability to come down and, you know, at least to the 87, 86 zone, sweep up these higher lows. All right, that's the pocket, right? The higher lows that were formed since Friday and the weekend. That is the target zone here, at least at a bare minimum. Regardless of the local uptrend, right? We are looking at this to maybe coming very close to the end. Okay, that's why taking out the highs again, form another little 5-wave structure to the upside. It is possible, but the overall scenario that I'm looking at, zooming out on the 4-hourly time frame with higher probability, is a rollover. And, you know, somebody asking me here, if we take out the local highs, is it, you know, is the probabilities higher to move up into 92K? Or is it rolling down already to 85K, I think you said, right? Or yeah, 87 to 85K zone. And, you know, I can give you a little bit of a try and go with the exact details here. But if you do take out the local highs, you know, what we need to be aware of is, let's go through the 15-minute time frame and explain a little bit this. I mean, it is a little bit complex based on Elliot wave theory, but it's very important to understand, because then the moves, you know, then it happens, right? And of course, we need to explain it as it happens, right? Yesterday, for example, the probabilities were see some kind of a range here, continue, maybe get a flat or a running flat here, and then take out the highs. The highest probability was to take out the local highs here. Of course, you don't want a long, just you know, at the highs. But what I want to explain here, basically, that there is a possibility. There's nothing too bullish from this pivot low and this to be corrective and this to explode out from here in a wave 3 or any of that. It just doesn't look right. It doesn't look right. A wave 2 also quite shallow here. So preferably what I see from this zone is either a 3-wave structure from this low as a correction, as an ABC, and then we roll down, or a combination of a complex sideways WXY, where your W wave is a flat here. You have your wave X in this region, sideways momentum. You've got the flat here in wave W because you have a 3-wave up, a 3-wave down, and an impulsive move right over here that gives you the possibility of a running flat. And all of this sideways choppiness throughout the weekend, which I would consider as an individual wave. And now the question is this the low or is this the low with this new fresh wave? If this would be the low right over here of your wave X, there is a chance for this to be the zigzag in your wave Y. I don't like it, but the chance is there. So you got your WXY zigzag up. You already got a little zigzag move to the upside, which is taking out, 90K weekly level, and it could start rejecting from this point, even though the local price action looks corrective. So on that side, that I would say, just because I don't like this to be the wave Y, it's a very small zigzag compared to your wave W in your flat here. And symmetry matters when you're looking at the waves. What would be ideal is for this to be the low of your wave X, and you're looking for a more zigzaggy move here throughout the next coming days that does take out the local highs and gets to 91, 92K. I prefer a little bit of this scenario. Your wave X is here, and this is your first leg up. You still range a little bit here, and then you take out the highs throughout the next 1 to 2 days again. And then this is your wave Y, and then then we get the movement down. I mean, I would prefer the price to move like this, just so there's a little bit of more symmetry on the 3-wave move. This would be a bit too shallow for it to be the top when I consider this scenario. So yeah, just a little bit of my opinion here on this scenario. Does it have the potential of being the high already? I mean, absolutely. This could be right there, be a complex WXY to finish your wave X, and then a zigzag up, which we already got. But comparing your wave Y here to your wave W, right, which is a long flat that we had last week, it's very, very shallow. So in time, I mean, and also price action. So yeah. So yeah, somebody was asking about, if we do take out the local highs, what is most important here is to detect that 5-wave structure to the upside. That now we've got a little correction down. Now we've got a little move down here. So that is interesting. This has the potential of being the low. Maybe, I don't know. It does have the potential of being the low here. If we formed a higher low, because I'm more interested in shorts on the higher time frame, if we were to see a push to the upside from here, I would be aware of a wave 3, I would be aware of a wave 4, and then a wave 5. And then, I mean, this could be the WXY that is formed, between today and tomorrow. A little bit longer, a little bit more symmetrical. We need to detect that 5th wave, right? If you explode out here with high volume, a bit of a range, you might get a resistance support flip. It might look like an SFP double top, but you end up taking out the highs again. This is the one that you want to get in at levels of resistance. There's a range point of control at 91.5K. You have the lower highs right there at 90,700. You're looking for double top. Maybe the wave 3 just reached the highs here. Maybe this is a shallow wave 3, wave 4, and then wave 5 actually creates that SFP from the lower highs that you have here, right, which are very important with the fair value gap. It's just yeah, without a doubt, I'm more interested in looking for the shorts at the levels of resistance. So yeah, we're gonna have to go with the flow here as the waves do develop. Locally, high probability to take out the local highs as explained. So yeah, let's go right away through the comment section and see what the people are saying. Okay. Much love, much love. Staffer one, yes sir. Oh yes, oh yes, oh yes. Let me know, guys. Andy, previous music name. Oh man, the previous song. I Got the Funk, Alex Dovo. I Got the Funk, Alex Dovo. This is from Epidemic Sound, guys. That's the one. Okay. 1 2 1 2 and 3. Also very possible here. Meme cat 1 2 1 2 and then a fifth and then then a third wave up. That is a very much a. Do you mean locally here? But it's also a possibility. I'm not sure if you're talking about locally on the 5-minute or higher time frame. You could be right, Memeka. Me cat. Andy, look double 1 2 to the downside. Andy, look double 1 2 to the downside. What time frame? Very locally here, a double 1 2 to the downside. It could definitely be a possibility here, guys. Okay. Also, I'm not sure if you're talking about this local one. I don't like this movement to be a 5-wave structure. There is without a doubt an issue here with this 5-wave move down. If you are labeling this as your 1 2 1 and 2, and the price really crumbles down and loses, right, and gets into that wave 3 throughout the next coming hours. The problem is here with this double 1 2. Yeah, I mean, unless if I'm labeling this as your wave 1, this would have to be an expanding diagonal. Okay, wave 4 overlapped with your wave 1. That is, you need to look for some kind of a diagonal. An expanding diagonal is the rarest motive wave to the downside. So you don't give it the highest probability. If you can find something corrective instead of starting with an expanding diagonal down, then that has higher probability. Any other complex correction has higher probability than starting a movement down in an expanding diagonal. I would prefer to see this movement down finish here, and this is a flat move, and then this is your wave 1 and wave 2. Then I would say I prefer fitting in a flat here in your wave 2. Okay, so your wave 1 would finish here literally, and that's your wave 2, and then your second wave 1 starts from here to here, and then that's your wave 2. This would make more sense based on looking at a start of an impulse down, and I would this is the way on how I would class this. If this is a double 1 2 locally from the recent highs, it would have to be like this if I want to give it the highest probability, which is very valid. Even though I don't like this does look very 3-wavy, I have to be honest. Not liking this move down as I mean, this is the 5-minute time frame, guys, so you need to understand that this is really going down deep into very low time frames, which is very noisy, right? This is very, very noisy price action, and it's not, you need to really have good experience here. I mean, I do have experience eventually. This is why I'm pointing out that not giving this the highest probability. I'm not sure if you're talking about this time frame. I mean, it rejected both at 786, and the second wave 1 isn't longer than the first one. Meme cat, yeah, I mean, that's good point right there. Very, very good point. Very good point. They both hit the 7.8. This one actually did hit, well, depending on where you're putting your fibs here. 7.8, yeah, you could argue discuss 0.88 if you do take this low. But this is how you would have to class this double 1 2. if you, second, 1 and 2, without a doubt, if you consider this a flat, take out the lows, take out the highs, ABC. So that's wave 1, wave 2 flat, then another wave 1 and the wave 2 here. This is how I would label it. Without a doubt, it has a possibility, especially as you considered your second wave 1 and 2 is smaller. However, think red flags, right? Here's when you want to look for red flags. You know, does this movement down from the highs look impulsive? This rejection from here to here to here, we're not counting this one because this would have to be an expanding diagonal, and that has, you know, low probability. So a flat here has higher probability, and then this another 1 and 2. This does look a little bit 3 wavy. So yeah, it does look, that's a red flag already, this movement down. And this is the 5 minute, guys. Of course, this is a bit of too much noise, and not much clarity, unfortunately, when you start going to the 5 minute, 3 minute, right? But yeah, I would give it could be a possibility, right? Maybe this is already the high, and you know, if the price decides to really nuke down in the next coming hours from here, right, and no reaction, and you actually move down very aggressively, and you know, you drop down to 88k, right, 80, you know, or so, with high volume, we would have to, you know, consider this scenario eventually, right? And this is obviously coming down to lower prices. However, yeah, I'm not liking too much this first move to the downside. And of course, your wave 2, your wave 1 here, your second wave 1 is actually longer than your first wave 1. Okay, as you can see here, I'm not considering this the wave 1 because it would have to be an expanding diagonal, and expanding diagonals are extremely rare, so we don't really give it the highest probability. I would give the higher probability of this to be corrective, a corrective range, considering the internal waves here that we do have. I mean, you always need to consider a bearish case for sure. I wouldn't give this the highest probability though, as a 1 2 1 2. In this case, your wave 1 is smaller than your second, and if you're counting this, your end of the wave 1, you're looking at an expanding diagonal, and expanding diagonals, you know, are, you know, never preferred as a motive wave if you can count something else. And yeah, something else is very much countable here as a zigzag down, flat here, and another possible flat. Very choppy, very overlappy. Yeah, but it's an interesting take for sure. 1 2 1 2. You know, it looks bullish, it looks corrective, but there's a hidden 1 and 2 1 and 2 here. And if the price really nukes down with high volume in the next coming hours, you know, I would definitely really consider. But this is why when we consider long positions, as explained at the beginning of the stream, longs have to be taken where they have to be taken, right? You know, a lot of people always ask about, you know, do I long, do I short? When you're a little bit in the middle of this zone and there's no clarity, I mean, for me, I say there's higher probability in taking out the highs again, just because of what's happening here. But I would not enter a long position on the pump. That is for sure. You know, if we can detect that this possibly is a corrective range, I mean, in the last couple of hours when we were moving down here, that the first entry zone was this higher low. and we have many scenarios to believe so. Maybe this could be the end of the correction. You got a 1 2 3 4 5 high volume wave 4 sweep is a very common SFP level, especially locally. You know, we just consider, you know, this is the zone that you want to speculate on the long position. And if you lose that level, what would be your next level if this comes a little bit deeper? Right, and obviously we had the daily open. Daily open is an option with the golden pocket as well. So I like the idea that we could take out the local highs again. I like the idea that we could take out the local highs. For me, you know, it's looking a bit more corrective than multiple 1-2s. So yeah, that's my take here. Yeah, let's go through that comment. Interesting take. Nice to see people that are actually understanding and giving the different opinions, of course. That's awesome, guys. Absolutely phenomenal. I mean, this 1-5 time frame, yes. So I mean, it rejected both, okay? And the bearish candles are way bigger than the green ones. I would give it a chance. Volume is high too, or I am just coping. Thank you, always willing to take lessons with you. Much love, Meme Cat. These long streams are bangers. Felport. Much love to you. Thank you very much for the kind words. Thanks for smashing the like button, guys. We tried to look for local setups. The directional bias here on the higher time frame, I have to say, guys, is I'm actually looking for a rollover. Okay, I'm actually looking for a rollover. Now the overall discussion is, you know, do we take out the highs one more time? I think there is a chance of taking out the highs, but the, you know, the directional bias here is really looking for a rollover to get back down to 87, 86k. Okay, this is like lower time frame discussion. Yes, you know, this reminds me very much of this pump right over here. Any legit followers that are still around and haven't you know, thrown the towel in crypto, which they are many. If you stick around enough, guys, you will actually be a machine in the next coming months. There's no doubt about it, right? Understanding, you know, the explanations of the stream, levels of guidance, how to manage risk, you know, that you will get into that zone where you do make consistent good trades. You just need to stick around good enough, right, to learn the different situations. But that, you know, this right over here reminds me very much of this scenario where the directional bias here in this zone was literally, you know, guys, we're looking for a rollover in this area. And I was discussing here, there's actually a possibility of taking the highs again before rolling over here. And, you know, that's what I want to make the people understand, that overall in between this, just as yesterday, between the 90k and the 92k zone, we have many levels. There's a weekly level, that's the one that we got rejected. You got a lower high here as well. I do not know which one is going to potentially be the high. We've got the golden pocket as well, and we've got the range point of control, right? These are the levels that you are interested in to actually take the possible, you know, snipe trade short on the rejection. So you got the weekly, you got the lower highs where we have the fair value gap. They are aggressive entries, but sometimes you just need to pull the trigger, and those are the ones that you need to get into, right? The rejections from major levels of resistance. And you have guidelines. You got the weekly, this lower high from Wednesday, this fair value gap from this big candle where you've got a big consolidation. This is a very common SFP zone, and it's actually in confluence with the golden pocket from the movement down. So which one will reject? Weekly, golden pocket. will you break through these levels and actually come to the point of control? And the point of control of the range of the last, 4 or 5 weeks is the one that's going to, really reject and then come down. Your only friend here is your risk management at the end of the day, right? How you handle the trades, how you get into them, which are the levels of guidance that you get into, where's your stop loss, right? How much are you risking? If you risk 0.5%, you can afford to risk another 1 to 2% in this zone if you're happy to scale in, right, and not be in front of the charts too much. Really depends on how you want to trade in this, how you want to trade this. But anyway, what else do we have here? So yeah, what I wanted to say is that this zone reminds me a little bit, very much of, I think locally, yeah, we could, range, it could be a correction. We could take out the highs again. I think there is a good chance. But overall, just like in this zone over here we discussed, guys, we're looking at this to be a 5 waver. You've taken out this local high. This could be a zigzag. It could be a 3-wave structure. You already formed a 5 waver here. We were looking at the 15-minute, 30-minute time frame in this zone and discussing that, yeah, you might take out the highs again. Maybe your wave 4 is extending a little bit more, but the overall directional bias here was to get a correction down, very, very likely of a few $1,000s. And the question was, do we roll down? Was the high taken already? For all of those people that did not take the short, there's an SFP from this lower high as well. Guys, we might take out the highs. Just be ready to re-enter to get the movement down. We did not take out the highs again. So, but the overall direction that we were anticipating here is to roll over, right, and not break out here very aggressively, just like here, right? I'm not looking for a breakout in this zone, and I'm looking for shorts in this range weekly, lower highs, fair value gap, range point of control, right? You just what can we say? ETH. Facts on risk management. FVG and the golden pocket is a strong probability. Absolutely. Legend. Price action looks strong for retail at 91K. I do, yeah, potentially. It's going down. Yeah, we're moving down here. It's moving down. It is moving down for sure. Locally. I wouldn't be too interested in myself here, really. Anyway, I hope people that took this long, hope that did take some profits. Let's see if we do have some bullish CVD divergence here, very, very locally. We probably do. If we are getting a bunch of shorters here on Bybit, which we kind of are, but we're not getting enough bullish CVDs. There are some bullish CVDs. People are shorting here very aggressively. People are shorting aggressively. But you get a bunch of longs entering on Bybit. Oof, too many longs here. Entering on Bybit. Getting a massive big pump with local bearish CVD divergence. So yeah, we got some lower highs on price action, higher highs on Bybit in the yellow here, which is these. Yeah, 14 million long positions here. But now there's lots of shorts entering the market, which is looking quite interesting. Yeah, but bearish CVDs. We're going to have a battle of bearish against the bullish CVDs here. But yeah, we are about to yeah, I'm not a fan here of trying to long a wave 2. Yeah, anyway, I hope the long traders from here, I would not consider this a great long position, this movement down. There's been some pretty aggressive bearish CVDs, which the target is to take out the low. There is some local bullish ones, but I'm not too interested. I hope the people that got into this long scalp did take a lot of the profits. Not interested here at the moment in a local re-entry at the moment in this movement down. Just taking into consideration that possibility of a 1-2-1-2 here. You know, if you do break down, for sure it could be a wave 3. That there's no doubt about it. There is a possibility. Maybe we're testing that VWAP. Maybe we're testing that VWAP. We've got local bullish CVDs. Yeah, VWAP not doing its job here. Reclaim of the VWAP could be interesting. If we were to reclaim the VWAP, as we do get bullish CVD divergence very, very locally here, there's lower lows. There are some shorts entering, lots of shorts entering on Bybit right now. 14 million shorts. This is actually lots of shorts entering right now, but I would want to see a reclaim of the VWAP. Reclaim of the VWAP could be interesting. Lots of shorts entering right now on Bybit. Insane amount of shorts. 14 million. You are getting bullish CVDs throughout all of the exchanges. Lots of shorts entering the market here. A reclaim of the VWAP could be interesting with a tight stop loss beneath the low. If it is going to reclaim the VWAP, I think there could be a chance of recovering here. I would want to see the reclaim of the VWAP, and this is like very, very local price action scenario, because I would want to see this as a possible 3-waver. This could break down. So what I want to see here is a higher low, and this 3-wave move to be a 3-waver, and the confirmation would be this. But I cannot long the movement down here because it might just nuke down, right? So I need this price action to actually see that the bulls are stopping the bears here. And obviously this converts into a 3-wave structure. You reclaim the VWAP, and then you have a possibility of this. So yeah, I mean, that could happen, but eventually the problem here is trying to long the move down on the 3rd wave, which it could nuke down, which is obviously a very, very common mistake that a lot of people do, like longing the rollover. And you need to understand that you got to push up. If you form a higher low, it doesn't matter here on the lower time frame, and you reclaim here, this 3-wave move down fails, reclaim the VWAP, sweep up the lower highs, that becomes your long entry, your stop loss, and you can target the highs. But longing on as you roll over down, not the best option. Eventually it does look like it wants to sweep up those lows, so that's probably not going to happen. So yeah, not the only long trade that I would see here available at the moment. This was a good attempt, guys. Whoever longed this, I hope you did take some profits. Nice little scalp. Almost a movement of $1,000. There was a chance eventually of hitting the highs, but we did not follow through. So what can we say? We're just sweeping up the low at the moment, so that's not, yeah, not an interesting zone at the moment here for me. Being aware of the double 1-2. Yeah, not a zone that I'm interested at the moment. Swept below. Very noisy 5-minute time frame as well, I have to say. Don't like this double bottom. If it bounces from here, yeah, you know, I would say it's an aggressive double bottom. You have swept the lows. We know what happens here. You sweep lows, sweep highs, but I don't like it as a double bottom here. Very much aware of that double 1-2. It's very much a possibility. Not one of those trades that you want to get in here, because if you don't manage risk, this could really be that wave 3, as someone was saying in the comment section. You want to consider it, right? It's just not a zone that I would be interested in getting into a long. It might be the, I mean, as explained on the higher time frame, could this have been the high? It could have been, of course it can, right? You know, I do see this more as corrective price action, but the double 1-2, you know, you can count a double 1-2 to the downside. You can count a zigzag move to the upside here when we do go through the lower time frame, which we talked about here on the flat. Right, we talked about the flat here in wave W. Your range of the weekend with this low here potentially being the wave X right there in a complex WXY, and then the zigzag up here to finish your Y wave. I mean, this movement is very small based on the structure and the waves. It's countable. It's possible this could have been the high already and we actually moved down. I don't like it, but I am positioned in a short already, as explained at the beginning of the stream. You know, I am, you know, not the biggest short, but, you know, overall, you know, I'm looking for the movement down here on the higher time frame, to come down into this region of 87, 86k. So, you know, the situation here on the lower time frame is, do we get another higher low? We had a first attempt, not too interested in this one, just understanding that it might be a double 1-2, and as it could be, and you're testing the low, it's kind of a dangerous zone to look for a long here at the moment, understanding it might just, you know, take a move down of $1,000 easily in this zone. So not an interesting level to long. This one was okay, it was acceptable. You know, you're in, you're out, that's it. A new long position here at the moment for me is not interesting, unfortunately. This short was difficult, I have to say, at least for me anyway. But yeah, if you did consider that 1-2-1-2, you could have entered into this short. You know, if you already had that planned. I didn't have it planned, so I did not enter into that specific short. I'm already on a higher time frame short, which I would want to add to the position if I could. But the moment I would add to the position is if we do break down here, we start moving down like this. It is a 1-2-1-2, wave 3, wave 4, wave 5, and then the bounce here, you know, starts really overlappy. It doesn't look bullish. You have a three-way structure, the move down, very corrective bounce. That's the moment I'm going to add aggressively on this trade to lower my entry and, you know, obviously get into a bigger position to then look for this movement down to the 86k zone. So I mean, that would be a little bit of the plan here that I have to increase that position size on the short position, because I mean, I am looking for 86k zone potentially in the next coming days. Obviously the situation now is, do we hit the highs again or not, you know? But if I do get that first leg to the downside here with that impulse as explained, if we do develop a third wave, then 4-5, 4-5, and we do not take out these lows, preferably, I mean, if we do take them, it doesn't matter, but then the movement up is going to be some kind of a corrective bounce, okay, where you do actually get wave 1, wave 2, you know, ABC overlap, then I would want to add aggressively to this position, you know, safely, so it is high still, to then get the next move down to the 86, maybe 85, low 85k zone. You know, looking for a $3,000-$4,000 move, but this obviously has to be done safely, sort of slowly, managing risk. But that's the moment I would be confident after getting that 5 wave down, a bit of a bouncy corrective structure, to add very aggressively into this position. Because literally here is catching the highs. You know, here we're trying to catch the highs, the rejection of the weekly level. Is the weekly going to be the one? Is it this one with a golden pocket at 90,700? Is it going to be, you know, we're going to pop up to 91.5, right? You're literally catching here the SFP of the levels of Confluence. And I like to manage risk here. I want to go slowly with these levels. And then obviously with the bigger move to the downside, which it actually confirms an impulse, and then you get the correction, you know, overlapping structure, then add aggressively to that position purely based on, you know, looking for the, you know, zigzag or 3 wave down, right? It might be a wave 3. If it is, then, you know, absolutely phenomenal. But if it is, or an ABC, you know, an ABC down is one of the options, because as explained, we could be forming a triangle. You know, a triangle is one of the options from here. You know, maybe this is the D point already, and you know, that is the lower high. The lower high here is what kind of, you know, kind of what I'm expecting. And then the movement down, we could form a higher low. So you end up sweeping up, you know, 86, 87, 86, maybe 85. You know, that's the take profit zone for sure. But what we'd be looking for is a 3 wave down. And that's what I want to see. Impulse down, correction. That's where I'm adding to the position aggressively, because I'm looking for the 3 wave, right? What you look for is the 3 wave. The 3 wave move. So you want to position yourself into the 3rd wave. So yeah, let's see, that could potentially be happening here throughout the next coming days if we do continue moving down. But for the moment, I have my doubts of this movement. Bit overlappy, a bit choppy, but multiple 1-2, it could be the possibility. Okay, I have to recognize that a multiple 1-2 from this high with a flat is a possibility. Wave 3, 4, 5, 4, 5. Then you get the bounce. You kind of sweep up this low, and then you get the bounce. And then I would want to add to that short position. Not interested locally here in any longs today. A long scalp was acceptable at this zone. Attempting that move up to the highs, but obviously this is a scalp. The overall direction on the higher time frame is really looking for that rollover, right down to the lows here in this you know, 87, 86k zone, maybe slightly lower. The triangle is one option where you form a higher low, and then there's the other option, which is you're looking for a zigzag down, much more aggressive in the next coming days. So you know, this is without a doubt, as explained, the rejection point. We're gonna have to go level by level. But the direction from this zone, regardless of taking out the highs again or not, is looking for that rollover to at least the 87, 86K zone. Then we'll go from there. You might move down in a 3-waver, get an epic bounce, and then we say, okay, well, maybe the triangle is actually the one that is on the formation. If the triangle's on the formation, what we're looking at here after the E wave is to look for a breakout and take out the D wave. So maybe some longs are going to be looking interesting here in this local price action. Don't get me wrong, people are going to say, forming this triangle here, there's many options after the triangle. Many options. You got the wave W, triangle A, B, C, D, E, and wave X. You could form a sharp zigzag to the upside. And you can form a flat here and then move down. It's this range is going to be very, very rangy. Okay, it's going to be very, very rangy. I do not see a breakout to the upside or a breakdown, guys. It's going to wick highs, wick lows. It's going to be confusing. It's going to be still very rangy in my opinion. Okay, for the next coming 1 to 2 weeks. Not expecting any major breakdown. Not expecting a Santa rally because the money print is going on. Okay, anyway, that's my personal opinion. Evening legends, Mark Dutch, the man, the legend, the myth, Staffer one. Look who's here, the absolute legend, Mark Dutch, my man. Happy holidays, man. Happy Christmas. Hope you're doing well. Same to you. Same to everybody here, really, in the comment section. Much love to everybody. Okay. Great for scalping. You are right on the rejection zone at 90K. I just moved plus 10K today from the low. Absolutely. No 90K. Yeah. Legends, dump it to 0. Guys, it's been over 4 hours on the stream. Thank you very much for joining, smashing the like button. Internal local scalp of today was okay. I'm not liking this local double bottom. Very much aware of a double 1-2 here. Second wave 2 is a flat. First wave 2 is a flat here. This doors has a chance of being corrective. A little bit of too much noise, too much charts only scenario. I mean, we are looking for shorts at levels of resistance, weekly level. There's a point of control, a range point of control. We got the lower highs here of the fair value gap, which is also acceptable for an SFP. It's an SFP zone that you want to enter, guys. You need to be a bit snipey. Weekly, lower highs, fair value gap, range point of control. We are looking for the shorts here on the higher time frame in this zone. Okay. And the overall directional bias is coming down to 87 to 86K potentially in the coming days. Local price action very choppy, not too a bit confusing. Local internal scalp here. Was this bounce from this higher low? Hopefully some people managed to make a little bit of profits. No new shorts, no new longs. I only remain in this short position, small short position. Depending on what the price action does between today and tomorrow, I'll either add to the short position or move up and look for the rejection at the specific levels that we need to look for the short if we do get up there. Legends, thank you very much. Remember that down below you do have the greatest bonuses here for bluffing. Okay, you do have $1,000 deposit bonus. If it's 7K, you're getting a 1K. If you deposit 1,000, you're getting $200 on top of that to increase your trading capital. Another way to support the channel, another way for you to trade in one of the best platforms out there, of course, centralized platform. You have the decentralized option, which is Velto down below. Mark Dutch, thank you very much. Happy Christmas. Happy holidays to everybody. Staffer one, much love. Alex, Bear, I'm exhausted, guys. It's been 4 hours. Yeah, probably talking nonsense at this point. Tired out. Thank you, legends. It's been an awesome one. I'm going to need to get some coffee tomorrow on tomorrow's stream. We're going to try and look for scalping scenarios every day, guys. Local scalp of today. I mean, it did manage to pump. We need to take profit on the local pump, guys. Thank you very much for joining, and I'll see you tomorrow.